Shangguanzhong, don't think the little dance party is afraid of you. I tell you, the little dance is very powerful. She is very smart and won't come. You can kill us. Shangguanzhong, I advise you to give up this method, otherwise you will waste your time waiting here. Everyone you a word I a language of scramble to say, the heart is very worried about cloud dance really come. After being tortured by the beast gate for such a long time, they have long ignored life and death. Compared with Yunwu's adventure, they hope that Yunwu can protect themselves and destroy the beast gate in the future to avenge them. If cloud dance comes this time, I'm afraid it will be more dangerous than good. Shangguanzhong glanced at the people below and gave a sneer. He didn't pay any attention to them, as if it was a waste to look at them. He had enough confidence that Yunwu would come here. 3 days is just around the corner. Shangguanzhong sat on the first seat and slowly opened his eyes. Compared with a few days ago, today's main hall is more heavily guarded, with rows of people in black standing on both sides of the lower hall, and the cage containing the owner of Murong family is placed in the middle of the main hall. Everyone in Murong family was worried and prayed to Yunwu not to come. As time went by, Murong family became more and more relaxed. They even thought that time had better pass quickly. Shangguanzhong had better kill all of them now and let Yunwu not take risks. However, when a slender figure appeared at the gate of the main hall of the Beast Gate, and walked steadily towards it, the Murong aristocratic family were filled with sadness and joy, and their hearts were filled with melancholy. When they see cloud dancing, they always have the illusion of hope. When they think about the current situation, they are not optimistic. When the figure of Cloud Dance appeared, the man in black on the main hall was faced with a great enemy, as if he could start at any time. But then Shangguanzhong raised his hand, indicating that people should not act rashly. Cloud Dance was cold with a face, walking step by step against the light, with an ancient sword hanging on the side of his body, and the black flame burning on it. She didn't stop until she was close to the cage. Yunwu looks at the people of Murong aristocratic family who are locked in the iron cage one by one with complicated eyes. He just feels as if there is something burning in his heart. He wants to rush up and smash Shangguanzhong to pieces. Here you are at last. Shangguanzhong squinted at Yunwu and said in a low voice, I knew you would come. Cloud Dance will look away from the people in the cage, look up at Shangguanzhong, voice cold asked, I have come, you let them go. Let them go. Shangguanzhong raised his eyebrows, stood up and laughed, ha ha ha. Cloud Dance frowned and looked at the Shangguanzhong standing above. He didn't understand what he meant. That's interesting. When did I say I would let them go as long as you came? Don't dream. With a cold hum and a wave of his hand, the man in black immediately came forward, opened the cage, and led the people out one by one. The weak Murong aristocratic family had no backhand power at this time. They were carried by the people in black, like chickens, and could only be manipulated. Shangguanzhong is not afraid of what the Cloud Dance party does. As long as she dares to act rashly, these people will die the next moment. What do you want to do? Cloud Dance wrung eyebrows to ask away, looking at those who are carried in the hands of people in black, very heartache. I don't want to do anything. Shangguanzhong said with a smile, but the smile made people feel very uncomfortable. You surprised me so much, even if you were arrested, you still had the ability to nearly destroy my base, so this time, I have to have a long memory, and I can't let you escape anymore. Yunwu took a deep breath and said in a cold voice, if you let them go, I won't run away again. Shangguanzhong sneered, empty talk without foundation. What if I let them go and you run away? Or another way? Cloud Dance frowned, what do you want? How's it going? Shangguanzhong's eyes were cold, and his hands spread out. He flew down from above and landed in front of the people in black. He grabbed a person from a man in black and watched the Cloud Dance. Adoptive father. Cloud Dance exclaimed. Although, at the beginning, she would not admit Murong Yun, who claimed to be her adoptive father, but her adoptive father has gone, and he is now her relative. What's more, Murong family will be arrested because of her. Murong Yun was caught by Shangguanzhong and hung down feebly. It seems that he suffered a lot in the Beast Gate. Cloud Dance's heart anger unceasingly, temporarily excited unexpectedly nearly rushed forward. Don't move. Shanggunsong immediately stopped. If you dare to act rashly, I'm sure you will regret it immediately. Yunwoo stops abruptly and looks at Shanggunsong. All kinds of ideas in his mind are constantly changing. His own strength is not as good as Shanggunsong. What's more, all the hostages are in his hands at this time. As soon as I do it, I'm afraid, little dance. Yugo Murong-yun's neckline was carried. At this time, it was difficult to breathe, but he still said, I'm old. It doesn't matter whether I live or die, but you have to leave here. Only you live can you revenge us. As soon as Murong-yun's words were finished, others echoed, yes, Xiaowu, as long as you are alive, you will be able to leave here alive with your ability. Little dance. We are grateful that you can come, but you are not his opponent. Let's go. Cloud Dance's eyes cold. Listen to these words, the whole person is like an ice sculpture in general, there is no temperature, only that tightly hold the hand of Guwu Degeo exposed her mood at this time. How is that possible? How is it possible to leave behind the existence of their own as relatives, a person muddle along. Today, as long as she is here, we should protect them in any case. Otherwise, even if she died, she would not leave before them. Tut tut, what a touching scene. Shanggunsong said with a sneer, it's just a pity, it can't move me. Yunwoo looks at Shanggunsong and doesn't say anything. She knows that it's useless to say anything. She can only see what the purpose of Shanggunsong is. I've been waiting for you for 3 days, but you didn't arrive until the last day. Are you thinking of something? Shanggunsong said, isn't it going to be here in the end? Yunwoo took a deep breath and said, I'm not interested in hearing you say this. I've come. Isn't your purpose to let me die? Now you let them go. You think highly of yourself. Shanggunsong said with a sneer, now let them go, will you not escape? No escape. Cloud Dance affirms to say. Yes, I don't believe what you say. Shanggunsong said. How can you believe that? Cloud Dance asked. Shanggunsong said, unless you it's useless. No. Cloud Dance hasn't spoken yet, all Murong aristocratic family people behind Shanggunsong say one after another. Xiao Wu, don't promise. If you promise them, we can't leave here. Yes, little dance. Think about it. If you don't have the ability, will Shanggunsong let us and you go? Think twice before you leap, Xiao Wu, don't promise. Shanggunsong frowned and cheered coldly, shut up if you don't want to die. Murong aristocratic family all a smothering, followed by a roar of anger. Shanggunsong, you don't play that trick, Xiao Wu won't be fooled, you have the ability to kill us. Come on, kill us. More noisy voice than before resounded through the main hall. Rao sure Shanggunsong didn't see them in his eyes, and his face didn't look good when he was scolded like this. Shanggunsong. Murong Yun, who was carried by Shanggunsong in his hand, sneered and said, you can't imagine it. Even now, you still can't make everyone afraid. Sooner or later, people like you will die miserably. We're all waiting for that. Shanggunsong's eyes were cold. It's an immortal thing. Then he looked up at the Cloud Dance directly and said, Cloud Dance. Do you think I won't kill them? I tell you, there are so many people here anyway, even killing 1 or 2 is good. I'll kill you now. Having said that, he took Murong Yun's hand and shook it directly. He just pulled his skirt, but now he directly pinched Murong Yun's neck. Cloud Dance's eyes opened, exclaimed, stop. The next moment, the figure directly forward. Murong Yun was directly strangled by his neck, his feet off the ground, and he clasped Shanggunsong's hand on his neck. The expression on his face was very painful. Yunwoo's figure moved, and many people from the beast sect came forward one after another, directly blocking Yunwoo out of the circle. Cloud Dance is extremely anxious in the heart, striving to rush towards the inside. Shanggunsong looked at Yunwoo's body coldly and said, how dare you act rashly? Then I'll let you know the consequences. Say that, direct force on the hand. With a click, the sound of broken bones came. Murong Cloud eyes a stare, the next moment completely throat. Adoptive father Yunwoo roared in pain, and his hands moved more quickly. Those men in black with extraordinary skills fell more and more quickly in Yunwoo's hands. Shangguan Suzuka looked cold and said coldly, if you want more people to die, just do it. In a word, Cloud Dance stopped immediately. Then, Shangguan's Hung waved, and the people in black on both sides also withdrew. A large open space appeared immediately in the middle, where Yunwoo stood in pain. Not far away, Murong Yun's body was in front of him. Cloud Dance looked at Shangguan's Hung, firmly said, let others go, I'll deal with you. Shangguan's Hung said, it seems that I'm really good at learning. In this case, I'll waste my power. Cloud Dance's heart mixed feelings, after all, they still have no way to change all this. The voice of the Murong family's dissuasion is still ringing, but Yunwoo already knows what to do. Standing in front of the crowd, Yunwoo closed his eyes and said silently in his heart, Xiaojiu, Stink and all my companions, I'm sorry. Once she loses her power, these summoners will become a waste just like her. The faint light flickered on Yunwoo, which was a sign of self-waste. Shangguan's Hong's face showed a smile of success. At this time, suddenly a black figure rushed in quickly. Stop dancing. The long-lost voice rang out, and the black figure directly came to Yunwoo's side and clapped it, directly interrupting Yunwoo's action. Before Yunwoo could react, he saw the figure running directly to the crowd in black, aiming at the man in black who was escorting the Murong family. Xiao Mu. The cloud dances, the eye is bright. The next moment, also immediately took advantage of Shangguan's Hong no reaction, directly rushed in, two people joined hands, quickly killed those people in black. Each of them was killed by one move, and then all the Murong family members were gathered together with the fastest speed. Yunwoo and Xiaomu protected them behind, staring at Shangguan's Hong. Although the situation is very bad at this time, they are obviously surrounded, but Yunwoo's heart is finally relaxed. Because now, the people of Murong aristocratic family are finally standing behind them, not in the hands of one woman who may lose their lives at any time. In the main hall of the Beast Gate, he was immersed in the spirit of killing. The woman's lips are tight and her brows are wrinkled. Gu Wu's sword is in her hand. At this time, the back of her hand is blue and her eyes are red. The Murong aristocratic family was behind them, full of worries. And Cloud grandfather is distressed. Cloud Dance, tears in his eyes, sighing. There is only one fate for Cloud Dance to die. Shangguan's Hong, with both hands on his back, looks at the Murong aristocratic family and Yunwoo and others who are surrounded by one woman's subordinates in front of him. His face is full of light smile. That's death. I just want to say that you must not regret Shangguan's Hong. After all, I am not the only one behind me. Yunwoo looks at a group of people who have no fighting power behind him. He sighs silently in his heart. If it goes on like this, he will have no chance of winning. Take a deep breath. Cloud Dance closed his eyes. Heart, today really want to die here. Shangguan's Hong looks at the helpless group of people dancing in the clouds. He sighs and shakes his head. He doesn't seem to be in a hurry to kill them. He is in the mood to chat with them. I appreciate you very much, but I can't help you. Today is the day to let you die, so you have to die. Yunwoo sneered twice. Her eyes were cold and murderous. She could see that Shangguan's Hong was ready to die today. Thinking about this, she was on high alert, because she was sure that she could not fight against Shangguan's Hong. Shangguan's Hong also felt the wariness of Cloud dancing in front of him, and immediately laughed. I think you'd better not struggle. After all, in this situation, I don't think it's useful for you to struggle. Yunwoo doesn't speak. He just looks around warily and looks at the people around him. However, he frowns. The minions around him are much more powerful than the people he usually sees. And these people, obviously more cruel and different, they stand there, a cold from their body, let Yunwoo feel very uncomfortable. Well, the last farewell, what else do you want to say? I give you time. Shanggunsong looks at Murong's family and Yunwoo, smiles and turns his head. Seeing this, Yunchi hurried forward, grabbed Yunwoo's arm, and sighed, Xiaowu, I know you can escape, so you don't care about us. Leave quickly, and don't delay your own affairs because of us. Cloud Dance slightly frowned, now, is life and death before parting. But looking at the tired and sad appearance of grandfather and Murong's family, they couldn't bear it. They patted grandfather's hand gently to show comfort. They whispered, don't worry, today I won't let another one of you get hurt. Thinking about Murong Yun's tragic death, he turned his back and looked at the Shanggunsong in front of him. He said angrily, if you have anything, just come to me. Let them go. Shanggunsong laughed, but suddenly his face changed and waved to the people around him. All of a sudden, countless people in black are attacking Yunwoo and others. There was a scream in Murong's family, and all of them were in a panic. Yunwoo instantly summoned Xiaoqiu and Xiaojiu to attack Shanggunsong in front of her. Her goal is not others. If she can fight to defeat Shanggunsong, maybe she can fight for a chance of life for the Murong family. Thinking about this, he suddenly threw the sword and ran to the Shanggunsong in front of him. Xiao Mu, on the other hand, seriously resisted the man in black in front of him. But Shanggunsong didn't give her the chance to attack herself. She raised her hand and grabbed Xiaojiu in front of her. Xiaojiu stops in a hurry, but Xiaoqiu has already dived down in the sky. Shanggunsong instantly changes its direction and grabs Xiaoqiu. Those hands are like a pair of sharp swords, which are hard to grasp on the little stinky body. All of a sudden, blood dripping, small stink wine, Cloud Dance will take him back in an instant. Seeing that Shanggunsong is getting closer and closer, Yunwoo is ready to deal with it. Kill. All of a sudden, I heard a noise behind me, followed by a sound of weapons colliding. Shanggunsong was also stunned. Suddenly he turned his head and looked out the door. Then he grabbed one of his men and said, go and see what happened outside for me. However, before the master rushed out of the main hall, he saw that a large number of people had poured in outside. At this time, Yunwoo's eyes suddenly lit up. Yunjiajin. Yunjiajin, who had disappeared at the confluence, now appears here. And also came at the right time. Cloud Dance's heart is very happy, turned his head and took grandfather's hand, said, Grandfather, don't worry, we won't die. As soon as the words fell, a lot of people rushed in and scattered the people in black around Yunwoo and others. Then they surrounded them and watched Shanggunsong and others standing outside. They were on guard. Your people. Shanggunsong picks his eyebrows and looks at a group of people in front of him. These people are obviously well-trained and very powerful, which makes Shanggunsong frown. Now the situation is a little troublesome. Cloud Dance's corner of the mouth raised a sneer, patted the person in front of him, let him give himself a vacancy. He came out from the protection of the Cloud family army and stood in front of Shanggunsong. Of course, otherwise, is it your people? Shanggunsong narrowed his eyes, nodded thoughtfully, and touched his chin. You still have a backhand. It turns out that at the beginning, you were just procrastinating. It's natural. I just said that if you kill me, then the people behind me will not let you go. The appearance of the bamboo in the chest makes the Cloud Dance look bright. But Shanggunsong just laughed and didn't say anything anymore. Suddenly, he waved his finger. In an instant, countless people in black came out of the main hall and surrounded the whole Cloud family legion. All of a sudden, the atmosphere of the main hall became more serious, with murderous spirit, and instantly stagnated. Murong's family was even more frightened and trembled. Grandfather looked at the Cloud Dance anxiously and sighed deeply. The people of the Cloud family army did not move. Their leader turned back and looked at Yunwoo. They were waiting for Yunwoo's order. Kill me. Shanggunsong suddenly yelled. All of a sudden, the people in black around them pulled out their weapons. Cloud Dancing frowned and nodded slightly. All of a sudden, the army of the Cloud family scattered and rushed towards the army of the Beast Gate. The two sides fell into one at a time. Grandfather, you leave quickly, we'll deal with it here. Yunwoo turns around and pushes the Murong family out. Yunqi sighs helplessly, so he nods and takes the family around him to walk outside the main hall. Yunjiajin! Yunwoo suddenly yelled. After a man nearby killed the people of the Beast Gate, he turned around and ran to Yunwoo. What's the order of the leader? Take 15 people and escort Murong family to leave. Yunwoo's voice is firm and unquestionable. What else does Yunqi want to say? After thinking, he sighs and shakes his head. The soldier quickly nodded his head and said yes. 15 members of the Yun family army came from his side. A group of people escorted the Murong family to the main hall. Yunwoo, you are so capable. Now you can gather so many people to break into the main hall of our Beast Gate. If you don't die today, I'm afraid the world will be very peaceful in the future. Shangguan's hung mouth with a smile, and in a moment, has come to the side of Cloud Dance. Yunwoo's heart suddenly raised to his throat. He turned his head to see the direction of Murong family's departure. It seemed that it was smooth. Then he vomited. Turning her head, Moran's murderous spirit suddenly leaped above her pupils. She threw an ancient sword. The whirring wind made some mediocre beast men around her tremble. Point the sword straight at Shangguan's chest, beautiful eyes, no longer panic and worry, but look at Shangguan's with a murderous face. Shangguan's also burst out laughing. Without any pause, a black fighting spirit instantly enveloped his whole body. When he attacked the clouds, the whole air seemed to be torn. Cloud danced quickly on tiptoe back, straight out of the main hall. The place outside is wide and convenient for fighting. Yunwoo looks at the people fighting outside, turns around and stands in the same place, waiting for Shangguan's to come. Next to him, a Cloud family army is fighting against the people of the Beast Gate, but suddenly a man of the Beast Gate rushes out behind him and stabs at the back of the Cloud family army. Cloud Dance's eyebrows slightly wrinkled, suddenly raised the sword, ran toward the soldiers of the Cloud family army. Chief! The soldier of Yunjia army dared to turn around and say hello to Yunwoo at the critical moment. This makes Yunwoo very speechless, but Yunjiajin has always been well trained, which makes Yunwoo very confused, angrily denounce, look ahead. Startled, the soldier turned his head and looked forward. Suddenly, he raised his long sword and took down one of the men's swords. Cloud Dance just came to the back of the soldier at this time, suddenly raised his hand and chopped at the man in black. Suddenly, the man in black spurted blood and flew out of the air. At this time, the soldier suddenly responded and quickly said thanks, but his face changed and he suddenly yelled, Chief! Watch your back. Yunwoo's face turned pale and turned around almost instantly. Shangguan's hand crossed Yunwoo's neck. In an instant, there was a blood stain on his neck and a few drops of blood fell to the ground. Shangguan's didn't stop, but he grabbed Yunwoo's neck with his backhand, which was sinister. It was obvious that he was dead, and he never intended to let Yunwoo walk out of here alive. Yunwoo raised her hand to resist, and then stepped back 3 steps in an instant. Yunwoo, don't worry. You can't get out of here today. If you destroy our Beast Gate, you should pay for it with your life. Yunwoo doesn't pay attention to him at all, just rapping the thunder element on the sword, Shangguan's. It's too dangerous. He cut the shoulder of Shangguan's with a knife. Shangguan's avoided it, but he suddenly frowned and looked around. On his shoulder, his clothes were broken. Shangguan's body immediately sent out a more powerful murderous spirit. Cloud Dance's heart's secret way now more careful, holding a big knife, vigilant looking at in front of. The whole Yunjiajin and Wanwoman's men are dead and wounded, and there are many corpses everywhere. Yunwoo can't bear to see the current situation, but if no one is sacrificed, where will the future peace come from? Countless people have been killed in the battle with the Beast Gate in front of us. The clouds are gnashing their teeth and there is a big fire in their eyes. The big knife seems to tear the air in the air, and a deep mark is drawn on the ground. She cuts towards Shangguan's. This knife makes Yunwoo almost use up all her strength. Seeing the fierce appearance of Yunwoo, Shangguan's also became cautious. he suddenly slowed down and didn't rush forward. Instead, he felt the power of Yunwu when it came. Then he suddenly closed his eyes and raised his hands slightly. All of a sudden, countless swords inserted in the ground were suspended from the ground to the air by him, and all the swords shot out in the direction of clouds. Cloud Dance quickly raised the knife to block back, but the huge strength still made people around tremble. Yunwu also took a step back, but he saw that Shangguanzhong suddenly grabbed a soldier of the Cloud family around him and threw him. The soldier screamed and his face turned pale. Of course, he thought that he could not kill his own man. Yunwu also knew that, but Yunwu could not give up the life of a Yunjiajin. But Shangguanzhong was behind the soldier, standing behind him. If he could not kill this man, he might be beaten to death by Shangguanzhong in the next second. Hesitated only for a moment, Yunwu immediately made a response. She suddenly turned the blade sideways to avoid the soldier. But Shangguanzhong had already appeared in front of him, and the palm of his hand was towards the Cloud army. Yunwu grits his teeth and suddenly turns his body in the air, blocking the middle of Yunjiajin and Shangguanzhong. Yes, maybe she would be seriously injured if she took the blow, but if the soldier took the blow, he might not survive. Release the fighting spirit to cover the whole body to resist the power of Shangguanzhong's palm. Yunwu closes her eyes and clenches her teeth to protect her heart. Suddenly, behind a small burst of wind came. Suddenly, Yunwu opened his eyes and was stunned for a long time. Before he made any response, he felt that Shangguanzhong behind him suddenly turned his strength to one side and hit him in a certain direction on the ground. Cloud Dance Heart Way is just the time, quickly toward the upper official grave chest cut. Shangguanzhong frowned and wanted to avoid it, but there was another concealed weapon flying by his side, which came very quickly. And silent, Shangguanzhong could not avoid, so he was not prepared to avoid the hidden weapons around him, but chose to avoid the attack of Yunwu. The small concealed weapon stabbed into Shangguanzhong's arm instantly. A small stabbing pain suddenly changed Shangguanzhong's face, because he felt that his hand was numb. And the wound caused by the concealed weapon extended out and became dark gradually. Damn it, he clapped at Yunwu angrily. Poof! Cloud Dance suddenly can't stand, a mouthful of blood gushes out. Shangguanzhong quickly sealed the meridians on his arm and clapped his other hand at Yunwu. Yunwu took a cold breath, but because of the pain, he couldn't move at all. He watched Shangguanzhong's hand clap towards him. But suddenly, another group of people in black appeared around them, just like they appeared out of thin air, silent, just attacking in the direction of Shangguanzhong. Killers! Yunwu is very excited, which shows that this time, more victory is in sight. With the emergence of the killer corps, the battle is more rapid. Countless bodies of people in black on the ground gradually accumulate into mountains. And the killer corps, still quietly shuttle in the whole battlefield. They are good at sneak attack, they are good at melee attack, all moves are deadly. The leaves in front of the hall are clattering, but the voice of the killer corps is not as loud as that of the leaves. The Cloud Dance suddenly felt relaxed a lot, and the speed of the Cloud army also became faster. But at this time, Shangguanzhong's face is quite bad. The poison on his arm, after being blocked by him, spread a little slowly, but it also limited the action of Shangguanzhong, and its power was greatly reduced. Yunwu is secretly happy and continues to bully him. Shangguanzhong's face changes, but he suddenly flies back. Yunwu is not angry and continues to move forward. There are countless concealed weapons behind him, escorting Yunwu to Shangguanzhong and cutting them down. Shangguanzhong's eyes were full of ferocity and blood. He raised his hand and patted away Yunwu's sword. A long sword on the ground was picked up by him and stabbed at Yunwu. Yunwu coughed twice, but the injury in front of her was not light. Now her arms are a little heavy, and her chest is very painful, which makes her sweat and slow down her body reaction. This makes Yunwu very anxious, watching the sword stabbing at him, but can't react. Cloud Dance, be careful. Xiao Mu's voice suddenly appeared behind him. Cloud Dance in the heart of the secret is not good, just want to stop, but see Xiaowood figure has appeared in front of him, suddenly, abruptly caught the blow of Shengguanzhong. A mouthful of blood spurted out, Xiao Mu's face had instantly turned white to transparent. But Shengguanzhong didn't want to let him go. He grabbed Xiao Mu's clothes and dragged him back. Xiao Mu was unable to resist at this time, and Yunwu was injured again. Shengguanzhong pulls Xiao Mu to his side and clasps his neck with his hand. "Now you are of great use to me," Shengguanzhong said, looking down at Xiao Mu. He nodded with satisfaction. Yunwu picks up Guwu de Geo and is about to come forward to help each other, but suddenly there is a group of people around him. These people are wearing the clothes of the Killer Corps. And that gang of people instantly stopped Yunwu and said, "Chief, you have been injured. If anything happens again, I'm afraid we can't afford it." "No way." Yunwu anxiously looks at the captured Xiao Mu and wants to help her, but the people of the killer regiment around her have stopped her, and her injuries limit her movement. Her eyes are a little red. Looking at Xiao Mu who was caught, she can see that Xiao Mu smiles at her from a distance, which seems to reassure her. The killer regiment surrounded her in the middle and walked out together. In the chaos, the assassin corps quietly killed all the way. Yun Jiejun also did not say a word, and escorted him all the way. Not long, Yunwu has been successfully sent out of the main hall of the Beast Gate. Upper bound. A very remote valley is covered by a border. The people of Yunwu and Yunjiajin didn't breathe a sigh of relief until they arrived here. Then they checked whether there was anyone following behind them. Seeing that they had successfully dumped the people of Wanwoman, they were relieved one after another. In an inconspicuous place opened the border of a mouth, people fish in. Has entered the valley, Cloud Dance immediately surprised eyes. The valley you see after crossing the border is completely different from what you saw before outside the border. If we had only seen a valley before, now we are seeing a world just like a peach blossom land. Large areas of open space planted with a variety of food, not far away there are small pastures, raising a variety of poultry. Further down, there are a number of humble houses, which are well located, just like the ranks of soldiers in the army, without any deviation. Standing at the entrance of the valley, Yunwu can clearly hear a powerful cry coming from the deepest part of the valley. The slogans of "roar" and "ha" are mixed with the clear and loud voices of soldiers and swords. One sound came and reverberated in the valley. Just listening to it, it was inspiring. "This valley is more rigorous than the valley where we agreed to meet before. These voices, are they all our people?" Cloud Dance shocked to turn head to ask to stand nearby of several Cloud family armies general, some can't believe. The generals looked at each other with a trace of pride on their faces. Then, a general stepped forward and said to Yunwu, the leader guessed well. "Those are our own people." Yunwu was surprised. Although she had already arranged everything when she left at that time, it was not only her own arrangement that was needed to make Yunjiajin develop in a short time, but also how much sweat was needed behind it. Yunwu was the most clear. "Come on, go and have a look now," Cloud Dance some excited said. She couldn't help but want to see with her own eyes what the Cloud army had become. She stepped out directly, but after a few steps, she stopped in a hurry. "Wait a minute. Just settle everyone up and take a few people to show me." A general nodded, and then quickly gave the order. He ordered several names to stay, and the others left with the Murong family. "After all, we just had a big war, and we still need to rest." The Cloud dances a few people footstep fast toward the valley deep place but go. Along the way, when I passed through the village I lived in, I saw groups of thatched cottages on both sides of the road. In addition to the people who were responsible for the daily life of the soldiers, I seldom saw any strong men again. Yunwu knows that these people must be in the place where they are about to arrive. And I don't know why, Cloud Dance always has a premonition that there is something surprising about to appear in front of him. Finally, after passing through the village and reaching the depth, Yunwu raised her eyes and saw a forest appear in front of her. The loud voice could be heard before, but at this time close but cannot hear. "Chief, please wait a moment," the general on one side said with a smile. "It's caused by the use of the Chiman Duanjia." The closer you get, the more easily you will be confused. Except for some generals, even the ordinary soldiers don't know how to pass through it. Usually, when you pass here, someone specially leads the way to get in. This is also to prevent the appearance of the Beast Gate one day, so as to give everyone time to leave. Yunwoo nodded with satisfaction. Although she had been away for such a long time, it didn't look like they were leaderless at all. On the contrary, it's developing rapidly. It's quite a research on this strange Duanjia, but I don't know how its strength has been enhanced. Yunwoo is looking forward to it more and more. Chief, follow me. Don't get separated, said the general. Then he went to Yunwoo's body and poked around a few trees. Cloud dance just feel around clearly what change all have no, but that famous general lead but turned to say, already can. Having said that, the man led the way. Yunwoo followed him in. As soon as he stepped into the forest, he felt as if he had arrived at another place. The cry that had just disappeared resounded again. And turn head to see again to come in of place, have no any border, look ordinary. Cloud dance heart, tut tut, praise, but the pace is not slow, closely behind the leader. At the same time, several other generals followed her. After walking towards the forest for a long time, Yunwoo always felt that there was no change in the surrounding environment. He was very interested in this technique. He couldn't help observing it carefully. Before he looked at the clinker carefully, he heard the footsteps of the general in front of him stop. Chief, here we are. As soon as Yunwoo's spirit was shocked, he looked forward and saw a large open space in front of him, which was out of place with the surrounding forest. It's a martial arts arena. There are thousands of people on it. Those people were divided into two parts. 2/3 of them were all dressed in the uniform of Yunjiajin, and they were in a neat line and were practicing in the martial arts arena. And the other part, all dressed in black strong clothes, they didn't have harsh requirements, but with their own habits hidden around, to capture the opportunity to attack those Cloud Army. In this way, the Yunjiajin not only has to work hard when training, but also keeps vigilant to prevent being attacked by those people in black. And these people in black are the killer corps established by Cloud Dance. Go and have a look, Chief. The generals on one side saw the expression on Yunwoo's face clearly, and everyone's face was full of pride. Cloud Dance presses the mood that the chest beats fiercely, after the face restored calm, this just nodded, say, good, that passes. So the leaders took Yunwoo to the martial arts arena one after another. In front of the arena, there is a tall platform. At this time, there is a majestic man standing on it. He has broad shoulders, strong posture, and a suit of military uniform, which highlights his valiant character. At this time, he was facing the direction of Yunwoo, seriously looking at the people who were training in the arena under the stage. From time to time, he showed a look of appreciation, and from time to time, he frowned at a certain direction or a certain soldier, and promoted him. His attitude was so serious that he didn't even find that Yunwoo and others were about to arrive. Who? It was not until Yunwoo and others were about to approach him that the general finally felt someone approaching. The next cold drink, a sword instantly appeared in the palm of his hand, directly turned to look at the people, but when his eyes came into contact with Yunwoo's face, he was stunned. As soon as the cloud danced around the corner of his mouth, a cold voice rang out, long time no see. Unexpectedly, as soon as he came up, he met each other in arms. As for Gao Yu, that majestic general was the general who Yunwoo had personally accepted his fate. He was also the person who really took charge of Yunjia army in Yunwoo's absence, Gao Yu. First Chief Gao Yu, some can't believe of say. He was always a big man. His voice was shaking. His hand with the sword was almost unstable. After shaking a few times, he fell down powerlessly. The sword fell to the ground with a bang. The clear voice sounded in the martial arts arena, and it happened that it was on the high platform again, where all the soldiers could notice. Therefore, the sound attracted many soldiers to look to this side, and some people who didn't pay attention to it even looked at it when they saw the reaction of the people around them. It doesn't matter. many people see Gao Yu's gaffe. Cloud Dance looks at the long sword that falls on the ground and can't help frowning. Gao Yu is good at everything, but when he is excited, he can't hold the sword steadily. Doesn't he see himself again? As for that, if he is his enemy at this time, he will lose his weapons. I'm afraid he will be defeated in his own hands soon. At present, Yunwu wants to educate him well. But just after clearing my throat, I didn't say anything. I suddenly felt that there was chaos in the martial arts arena. What's the matter? One of the generals around Yunwu frowned and looked at the arena. It doesn't matter. I found that many people in black who were hiding in the dark felt that they had seized the good opportunity to assassinate them when they were distracted. It's not terrible for a man in black, but at this time, more than half of the killers started to act. For a moment, the whole martial arts arena was in chaos. Those soldiers who wanted to see why Gao Yu was so impolite quickly took back their mind and began to seriously deal with the killers who came to attack. Those soldiers who were not targeted also began to defend. The whole arena is in chaos, and as time goes on, the chaos is getting worse. Gao Yu quickly took back his gaffe, picked up the fallen sword from the ground and looked down. "Chief, please wait a moment. It's time to teach these kids a lesson." After that, Gao Yu let out a roar, brewing his fighting spirit into his voice and spreading it to the distance. "Stop it all. All Yunjiajin and Killer Corps stop." In a short sentence, all the people present stopped. Yunjiajin quickly returned to their position, seriously stand, and killers also immediately find a place to hide themselves. Just this time, everyone's eyes were on the stage. Gao Yu cleared his throat, trying to restrain his heart to talk with Yunwu, and at the same time, he also seriously thought about how to tell the soldiers that the leaders coming back would have deterrent power. Suddenly, from around the martial arts arena, there are several black figures with extremely fast speed towards the platform. There is an unwritten rule that the members of the Killer Army can challenge the Cloud Army at any time. They can assassinate each other regardless of their identity level on the premise that they will not be seriously injured or hurt their lives. Gao Yu, who has been standing on the stage, has always been the target of assassins. It seems that as long as he can be assassinated successfully, he can become famous in the First World War. And it was the assassination regardless of time and occasion. At this time, so many shadows rushed towards the stage. Gao Yu's first reaction was that these people came again, and he couldn't help frowning. "All back. Let's get down to business first," Gao Yu cheered coldly. "If you always say so, these people will leave. After all, business is more important than completing the assassination task." But today, these people in black are not normal, not only did not retreat, but also increased the speed. Gao Yu frowned and was still thinking about whether these people had taken the wrong medicine. When he was so positive today, he saw that the people in black had missed him and went straight to the people behind him. "Be careful, Chief." Gao Yu gave a warning. But the next moment, he found that several figures rushed forward, but they didn't attack Yunwu. Instead, they jumped on Yunwu like children. Gao Yu wants to continue to remind words, directly blocked in the throat. "Little dance. Xiao Wu, you're back. Xiao Wu, you finally found us. We all miss you so much. We thought you couldn't find us. We're going out to find you together. Little dance, how are you out there? Have you been bullied by the Beast Gate? It doesn't matter. We'll call you back. Xiao Wu, how about your strength? Has it been improved? Do you want us to compare two moves? Little dance." The four men in black rushed up, one embracing Yunwu's neck, one embracing Yunwu's waist, and the other simply embracing the two from the side. At this time, the three people are feeling the temperature in Yunwu's arms happily. The only person in black who is a little bit colder is standing beside Yunwu at this time, looking at all this with a surprise. Gao Yu was shocked to see everything in front of him. He even doubted whether he had read it wrong and raised his hand to wipe his eyes. It was not only Gao Yu who was shocked, but also many soldiers standing under the stage, as well as the killers who were hiding in the dark. Killers have always been trained in psychological quality. Usually, they are not cold-faced. They always look like strangers are not near. They are used to the dark life. They have high strength and high speed. They often use one move to defeat the enemy. However, at this time, these people rushed to the stage in full view of the public, and held a woman they had never seen before, who was as kind as an ordinary woman. But soon, someone recognized Yunwoo's identity. "My God! That man is the leader!" someone exclaimed. "What leader? Don't you always call General Gao General?" Another new recruit who has just joined the army said suspiciously. "No, I'm talking about the leader. The woman who was hugged is our leader Yunwoo." Just now the voice of that person's surprise of Sei wished to also directly rush forward. But he was just an ordinary soldier, not familiar with Yunwoo, but very adored. What's more, there is their General Gao Yu standing on it. If he rushes up, he is afraid that he will be punished the next moment. "What did you say?" "That man is the legendary leader." "That strange woman?" Recruits Egg shocked said. The recruits who joined the army later never met Yunwoo himself, but everyone who joined the army knows clearly that there is only one real boss, whether it's Yunjiajin or Killer Corps, that is a woman named Yunwoo. At any time, the deeds of Cloud Dance always spread in these two organizations, just like brainwashing. Therefore, almost everyone regards Cloud Dance as a hero in their heart, and everyone is curious about what Cloud Dance really looks like. Some people speculate that it might be a woman with a big body and a round waist, while others speculate that it might be an inaccessible aristocratic woman. But now the woman standing in front of them is such an approachable and personable woman. And those killers can be so close to her. At this time, Yunwoo has no brain to think about what others will think. She is also very surprised when she is held tightly by 3 people. "I didn't expect to see them here. No wonder I didn't see them when I came back to the college a few days ago. I came here." "Xiao Zhu, unintentionally, Ling Feng, how can you be here? And you're in the Killer Corps?" Cloud Dance finally pulled the hands of 3 people, looked at the clothes they were wearing, some shocked said. See 3 people mysterious smile, small Zhu takes the lead to open a mouth. Hey Xiao Wu, you don't know that, do you? What we can learn in the college is limited. If we want to learn more, we can only look for it by ourselves, and your Killer Corps is a good choice, which can not only continue to improve our strength, but also learn what you will. This treatment is not generally good, so the 3 of us discussed and joined in. That's right, Xiao Wu. The training of the Killer Corps is fierce. Now the strength of the 3 of us has improved a lot. Unintentionally also said, looking at the Cloud Dance's eyes with the surprise of reunion. Xiao Wu, we have not only improved our realm, but also have the power to fight even if we meet a higher level opponent according to the strength of the 3 of us. How about Xiao Wu? Isn't that good? Ling Feng's eyes twinkled with proud light, but I'm sure I can't compare with you. After so long, your strength must have improved a lot. What's your strength now? Cloud dances the corner of the mouth to stir up a smile, facing 3 people, oneself unexpectedly seemed to return to the college in general, carefree. The 3 of them all chattered. What about you? Yunwoo looks at the cold water behind the 3 and asks. She knew clearly that if she had answered the 3 people at this time, I'm afraid that they can't close them one by one as if they had opened a conversation box. Fortunately, when they saw Ling Qingshui, they pulled her to the rescue. Ling Qingshui was moved by this question. Master. Cloud Dance hooks a lip cape to see to cold clear water. This apprentice at the beginning of oneself since accepted, will take good care of. Now it seems that strength has improved a lot, and for others, it must have made a lot of efforts. Yunwoo feels very satisfied in his heart. Looking at today's Killer Corps, he is more satisfied with Ling Qingshui's work. Well done. You've been working hard these days. Cloud Dance spoke in praise. Although cold water did not say, but all the results have come to the surface, Cloud Dance a glance will sweep out. Thank you, Master. I don't think it's hard. Ling Qingshui said seriously. Little Dance is back. A man's voice came suddenly. Yunwu was shocked. I never thought that I could see him here today. Looking up in disbelief, I saw a man's figure coming to Yunwu in the position where some generals of Yunjia army were standing. The same burly figure appeared in front of Yunwu. Cloud Dance only feel a lang, immediately, heart suddenly tremble. He's alive. Wasn't he killed by the people of the Beast Gate? What's going on? After half a sound, she finally yelled out, Dad. This man is Yunlingyi, the father of Yunwu. Hearing the voice of his father, Yunlingyi was so sad that he quickly put out his hand and hugged Yunwu in his arms. Child, my good child, I finally see you again. In fact, there is always an indescribable gap between Yunlingyi and Yunwu. However, at this moment, that layer of estrangement seems to disappear without a trace. Long-lost relatives, after all, have blood ties. Yunwu only felt that she had not been so moved for a long time, as if she had countless grievances and hardships to say, this it's my father. But in the end, he endured and said nothing. There are thousands of soldiers standing under the stage. She has to look like a leader. So, she came out of Yunlingyi's arms, and her face returned to the former calm. Well, don't stand here and say it. Gao Yu opened his mouth at the right time, it's rare to meet again. Leader, it's better to go back to the village first and have a good talk with everyone. Cloud Dance nodded, so Gao Yufei quickly arranged the next task of the soldiers. This just took Cloud Dance together according to the way back. And at this time, the upper bound of a inn. Long Qingxie was sitting in the inn, wearing a hat and tasting tea. People came and went around, and no one went to see this strange man with a bamboo hat, because everyone knew that strangers should not be provoked, otherwise something might happen. So Long Qingxie sat here, quietly watching people coming and going. I tell you, a few days ago, the roof of my house was suddenly smashed through, and a man fell down. This man bared his teeth and lay on the ground for a long time without getting up. I was scared. I thought he was an immortal, and now he is worshipping. There is a person sitting down on a sudden drink of tea, and then said to the people around. This makes the dragon pour evil smell one leng, but have no speech, just listen quietly. Don't mention it. I heard that one of Zhao Xi's family fell down that day, but she was a beauty, but that beauty was very powerful. Zhao Xi just made a few remarks and was interrupted by that beauty. Oh, when she saw me that day, she was black and blue, and I laughed to death. The people in the inn are talking about it, and Long Qingxie listens to it without saying a word. All the information is collected in the mind, the corner of the mouth can't help showing a smile of evil spirit. Sure enough, you're not out of the upper bound, so it's easy. He put down his glass and stood up, ready to go downstairs. Looking at this strange man with a hat on his head, people around him could not help talking in a low voice. Long Qingxie listened to the voice of the people around him, narrowed his eyes slightly, stopped and turned his head. Mingming was wearing a hat, and his whole face was covered. He couldn't see what he was like. However, the sudden coldness of his body made everyone around him cringe and stop talking. Long Qingxie didn't speak or express too much. He just turned around and continued to walk downstairs. Now he's in a bad mood, very bad, because his little guy's gone. There was no Cloud dancing at the meeting place that had been agreed before. In addition, the transmission array was damaged by people. It is obvious that the people of the Beast Gate had already known their plan and were ready before they arrived. The more he thought about it, the more angry he felt, which made everyone around him feel cold. No one dared to get close to him. But he had just stepped down the stairs on the second floor and the first floor when he heard a noise coming from downstairs. The noise made him even more angry. He stopped and stood at the edge of the stairs on the second floor, looking at the downstairs. Downstairs, a large crowd suddenly swarmed into the door of the inn. Most of these people are big and round, and their burly appearance makes the guests downstairs feel afraid. The people who were still chatting gradually stop talking and quietly look at the group of people in front of them. The shopkeeper was even more afraid. He ran out from behind the counter and kowtowed to the group of people in front of him. He said with a smile, "I don't know if you are coming here. If you are not welcome, I will drive all the people out of the inn." A large group of people have come in. One of them hits the food on the table next to him on the ground and sits down. A group of people look at the shopkeeper with a smile. The shopkeeper is miserable. "I said that you haven't paid for more than 10 days. You know, we are not protecting you for nothing. It's also very hard. If you don't pay us anymore, I'm afraid we can't guarantee your safe business here." Long Qingxie stood quietly on the second floor, looking at the downstairs. The hateful faces of these people make Long Qingxie very angry. Of course, he is not a warm-hearted person who takes out a knife to help others. It's just that he's very angry and itchy now. In front of him, these people are very arrogant, which makes Long Qingxie very dissatisfied. He slowly walks down from the second floor and quietly looks at the arrogance of the people in front of him. The shopkeeper was already in a cold sweat. He quickly brought up several jars of good wine, let a group of people sit down, filled the bowl with wine. His hands shaking when he picked up the bowl, and his voice shaking even more, as if he was about to cry. "Gentlemen, you know I'm in a small business. I can't afford the hard work I'm asking for. Otherwise, if you want to drink in the future, you can come to me. I'm not stingy. I'll give you all the best wine to drink." Several people sneered twice, poured 2 mouthfuls of wine into their throat, slammed the bowl on the table, and said, "You really think we are beggars? We are responsible for protecting you here. Naturally, you have to offer us good wine, but money is also indispensable." At this time, Long Qingxie had come to the first floor and found a seat everywhere. And the guests around have been scared to flee. The whole inn, there are no guests. Of course, except for the dragon. But no matter what, this makes the shopkeeper very helpless, anxious at a loss, can only helpless way, "But a few masters, every time you come here, my guests have fled, so go on, I can't earn money in any case. You this is not for me." Before he finished speaking, a big man stood up suddenly. The shopkeeper didn't respond. He had already been pulled up by the man and put it on the table. "Angry way, you dare to say that we are wrong at this time." The shopkeeper was so scared that he was about to pee his pants. He was held in his hand by the big man again. He was even more afraid to speak. His face was even whiter. Sweat fell down his forehead and his collar was wet. Long Qingxie sat aside, quietly opened a jar of wine, poured a bowl for himself, closed his eyes and tasted it carefully. Suddenly intoxicated, he said to himself, "This is really good wine. The shopkeeper is really stingy. I clearly gave the highest price, but you didn't give me the best wine. It's hard to say." These people are swaggering. As soon as they hear someone talking, they all look around. But found that countless guests around have fled, but only one wearing a hat to cover the whole face, still sitting there, mouthful by mouthful of wine, very leisurely. Several big men raised their eyebrows almost at the same time, and several of them had already gone in the direction of Dragon's evil. The shopkeeper was even more afraid and said in a hurry, Gentlemen, this is my grudge with this guest. Don't hurt the innocent." What the shopkeeper said made Long Qingxie very satisfied. He nodded with a smile, put down the bowl, raised his head, looked at the big men standing in front of him, raised his eyebrows, and his eyes were full of banter. However, those big men could not see. "Why, do you want to have a drink?" The man also raised his eyebrows and looked puzzled. "I say you are really ignorant. You see, people around you have already escaped. Why don't you go? Can you come up with some money?" Long Qingxie lowered his head and quietly turned the wine bowl in his hand. He didn't say anything, just sighed. But the shopkeeper was in a hurry and yelled, go quickly. In case something happens later, I can't guarantee you. Long Qingxie laughs. Suddenly, Morin's eyes are murderous. He suddenly throws his bowl at a big man. The big man was hit on the nose by the bowl before he could show his angry expression. But this time, the dragon didn't use much strength, just threw it casually, so the big man wailed and covered his nose, and there was bright red blood in his fingers. Call me. The man with his nose in his hand said vaguely. See next to a few people, has completely ignored the shopkeeper, toward the direction of dragon evil. But the shopkeeper sighed anxiously, ran to him in a hurry, stood in the way between the big man and the dragon, and said, I say you, don't have the same opinion with the guests. I'll give you money, I'll give you money. But Long Qingxie stood up, reached out and pushed the shopkeeper aside, raised his foot and kicked a big man in the stomach. The big man watched Dragon Qingxie kick at him, but he couldn't escape. Because I don't know why, this man's speed is surprisingly fast. Just listening to the wailing of his whole life, the man has fallen out, smashed the door of the inn and rolled on the ground outside. The road outside was instantly full of people. Long Qingxie turns his head and looks at another person who is still standing beside him. That person also glares angrily and suddenly raises his fist and smashes at Long Qingxie's face. This man is really smashing, because his fist is bigger than the bowl of wine, with the wind. The shopkeeper stood aside and was too scared to make a sound, because if he hit himself with this fist, he really couldn't imagine what he would be like. But Long Qingxie didn't hide, and he didn't have any other preparation. He just raised a hand, and gently held the big man's hand. And to everyone's surprise, the big man's fist actually stopped in front of the dragon's head, where there was a fist. Dragon Qing evil cold hum, grin, suddenly hard pinched down. Just listening to a crackling sound, the big man's face was distorted by the pain, and his hand was also distorted, sweating. He suddenly hugged his hand and jumped up in situ. It's noisy. Long Qingxie rubbed his ears and suddenly raised his hand to chop on the big man's neck. In an instant, the big man lost his voice and passed out. I'm in a bad mood today. Long Qingxie sighed and walked towards the big man, because I can't find my little guy. The big man felt puzzled and very cautious, but he was very angry and said, You can't find anything. It has nothing to do with us. But I drink here, and you disturb me. Long Qingxie narrowed his eyes and looked up at the big man. This makes me very unhappy. Suddenly he raised his fist, and Long Qingxie threw it at the man's face in front of him. The man suddenly turned pale with fright, fell down on his knees with a plop, and yelled, Young Xia, spare your life. It's very flexible. Long Qingxie looked at the man's eyes, suddenly appeared a thick irony, suddenly squatted down, reached for the man's collar, said, Tell me, where is your nest? The big man had been frightened by the appearance of Dragon's evil spirit. He trembled and said, I'll take you with me. Long Qingxie smiles and releases his hand. Then he stands aside and looks at the man. The man stood up tremblingly, and all the people around him were injured. They stood up and walked out without wailing. They knew that if they didn't listen to the person in front of them, the problem might be very serious. Why? Because of their bad luck, they just caught up with such a powerful man and lost his favorite thing. Long Qingxie went out with the group. The shopkeeper behind suddenly rushed out of the inn and yelled at the back of Long Qingxie, Thank you, young Xia. Long Qingxie waved and didn't speak. All the way, these people were terrified. They looked at others pointing at them on the street. They were very unhappy. They turned their head and angrily denounced the people around them. What are you looking at? These people have always been bullies among the ordinary people here, which has made everyone miserable. Now they are very happy to see them become like this. Some people can't help but feel funny. No matter what people around him thought of them, Long Qingxie hated them very much. He slapped a big man on the head and said, Go away, what are you shouting about? The big man wilted for a moment, no longer dared to speak, and hurried forward with his head down. There was another burst of laughter in the crowd. In a short time, several great men had already brought Dragon Qingxie to their gathering place. This group of people is a village made up of all the ignorant young people in the whole town. When Long Qingxie came into the stockade, almost all of them stood up and walked towards Long Qingxie. Some of them were holding sticks, some were holding swords, all of them looked very powerful. As if they had seen a helper, the big men who led the way showed off their power in a flash. I advise you to apologize quickly, otherwise, we can't guarantee that you can get out of here alive. Long Qingxie smiles and doesn't speak, but suddenly his face is cold and kicks a big man's stomach. The big man was kicked out of the inn by him. Now he kicked again. Suddenly, the big man's blood was gushing, and he had fallen on the ground and turned his eyes. Without making a sound, the dragon went straight through countless people and walked towards the stockade. Tell your boss to come out and see me. Long Qingxie sat down on the stool and said nothing. And the terrible smell from him made the people around him dare not come forward. Suddenly, they looked at each other and fell into silence for a moment. After a while, a voice sounded from behind the group. Why, I heard that someone came to smash the scene. I'd like to see who dares to come to our Anqing village. The words didn't finish, the public already impatiently gave up a road, and in an instant, this person already face to face with Long Qingxie. Long Qingxie looks at the person in front of him. Suddenly, a black energy comes out of his palm. In an instant, the strong breath made everyone step back 3 steps, and the person in front of him almost instinctively wrapped his whole body with fighting spirit. It's purple fighting. Long Qingxie said with a smile, it seems that the talent is good, but you are far from it. Evil spirit's smile spills over the corner of his mouth. Long Qingxie suddenly stands up and walks towards the person in front of him. The more you go forward, the more the invisible pressure from the dragon's evil spirit makes the people around you tremble and almost lose their stability. These people are sweating. How did they ever think that they were provoked by such a terrible role? And the man in front of him just sneered, with an épée in his hand, and ran directly in the direction of the dragon. Not far away, the two forces almost collided. The wind of the 2 épée swords made the people around them squint. Before Long Qingxie rushed out of the room, the man had arrived. 2 épée swords collided and made a loud noise. Suddenly, the thatched cottage around him had been smashed by the force. Few people can bear the strike of dragon's evil, but the man in front of him, although he has stepped back more than 10 steps, and the corner of his mouth has shed blood, still stands there, which makes dragon's evil eyes shine. Carrying the épée on his shoulder, Long Qingxie picked the eyebrow and laughed, not bad. Cough. The man coughed violently twice, wiped off the blood from the corner of his mouth, his eyes were full of vigilance and anger, and said angrily, Who are you? Name it in the papers in front of him. Long Qingxie put away his weapon, sighed, hooked his hand to the man, and said coldly, You are not worth my name. Obviously, the man frowned and looked impatient. However, he didn't make a sound, because he knew that he had suffered a certain degree of internal injury by the blow he had just made, and this man didn't even play his 30% power. I'm Chongguangji. The man said in a deep voice. In fact, he is not very happy to tell his name to the man in front of him, but he is too strong. After all, he is still the leader of a team. If he annoys this person, I'm afraid that his life will not be easy in the future. Even if he doesn't think about himself, he should also think about many brothers behind him. Long Qingxie nodded, turned around and walked towards the stockade behind him. But he found that the thatched cottage behind him had been destroyed for some reason. He shrugged and looked at Chongguangji. Are you their leader? Chongguangji sighed, turned his head and told the people around him to find some straw to mend the stockade. Then he went to Long Qingxie's side and said, It's just me. I just don't know what this great Xia has to teach you. Just in a bad mood. Long Qingxie frowned and looked around. I saw people standing all around him, looking at him in horror. Everywhere I could see, there was a shiver. It seemed that the feeling I was showing now was a little frightening. Listen to the answer of Long Qingxie. Chongguangji can't help but draw, in a bad mood? That's why we're going to deal with his people. It's not a bandit. What is it? But he could not make complaints about it. He could only look at the long, cold and handsome face and tucking up his face in the heart, but what he did not dare to reveal on the surface. After Long Qingxie looked at him for a while, he turned his head and looked at Chong Guangji again. Do you usually rob your family? Chong Guangji sipped his mouth and thought, nonsense, we are the leaders here. We are bandits obviously. Do you want to rob the rich and help the poor if you don't rob the families and houses? Chong Guangji was silent for a while and nodded silently. It's hopeless. Long Qingxie frowned more tightly, and the irony in his eyes made Chong Guangji and others very unhappy. We rob houses and families, and we also protect the safety of local people. If you don't believe it. Chong Guangji wanted to say something else, but he saw Long Qingxie turn his head and hook his fingers to a bruised man around him to let him come. The man was very embarrassed. He bowed his head. His dark face was red, like a hot iron pot. He scratched his head and didn't dare to say anything. Chong Guangji now understood that he was angry. He suddenly stepped forward and kicked the man to the ground. All of a sudden, the man cried out and fell on the ground for a long time. Chong Guangji pointed to the big man's nose and said, I don't know what it's for to raise you people every day. Let you rob that rich man, not let you oppress those ordinary people. You. All right. Long Qingxie waved his hand and went to Chong Guangji. He patted Chong Guangji on the shoulder and said, I just want to say that now I'm going to take over your village. From then on, you call me boss. Before he finished speaking, Chong Guangji's face suddenly changed color. He suddenly raised his hand to open Long Qingxie's hand and said angrily, You are shameless. Whose stockade do you want to collect? Looking at the annoyed people around him, Long Qingxie nodded, suddenly raised his feet and swept in the direction of several people around him. Those people were startled and fled, but the dragon's action was too fast. Almost instantly, 3 people had been overturned on the ground. Before a few people could get up, the foot of Dragon Qingxie had stepped down. In an instant, 3 people were lying on the ground, unconscious. I want this stockade today. You can make your own choice, either be like them or follow my orders. Long Qingxie looked around and said with a smile, I'll give you time to burn incense. If there is no result, I'll solve the problem in the second way. Long Qingxie turned and walked out of the courtyard. He squeezed his fists as hard as he could. The creaking sound made everyone shiver. Chong Guangji and others, looking at the back of Long Qingxie turning away, silently stand in the courtyard of the stockade, with their heads down, have not yet reflected what happened. At this time, a big man with a bruised face came forward and said, Boss, we are wrong. We just want to go to the restaurant to get a drink. Who would have thought that we would meet such a cruel character? What should we do now? Chong Guangji gritted his teeth, turned his head and gave the man a punch. He said angrily, What are you doing now? He bowed his head and thought carefully. He didn't know what to do. Or we'll fight him. A man nearby suggested, It's dusk now. All the people in the stockade will come back soon. At least there are 20 or 30 people. I think, how can we fight with that man? Chong Guangji turns his head and looks at him like an idiot. After a long time, he sighed, this man, at least in the later period of Emperor Wuzong, maybe even Emperor Wudi or higher. We, even if we bring 110 people, are not enough to fight him. After touching his chest, Chong Guangji sighed, I'm afraid he didn't even use 30% of his strength just now, but I've suffered internal injury. If it wasn't for my forced stop, I would have fallen to the ground at that time. When people around them heard this, they were all silent. For a moment, the atmosphere in the stockade was very heavy. After a while, the bored dragon came in and looked at the group of people in front of him with a smile. How are you? What are you thinking about? But in front of a group of people, who did not speak, just standing quietly, face ugly terrible. It seems that you have decided to disappear into the world from now on. Long Qingxie bowed his head and gave a light smile. He suddenly sacrificed the épée. The huge edge of the sword startled everyone. Chongguang rushed forward to block the crowd and said, "Great Xia, you can't." Long Qingxie stopped and turned to look at Chongguangji. "There are any last words to say?" "Don't worry, I will tell your family." Chongguangji finally sighed, then fell to his knees with a plop, and said in a deep voice, "Boss." People around were stunned and fell to their knees one after another. But Long Qingxie laughed. He put his épée on the ground and stretched out his hand. Chongguangji raised his head and looked at the hand. He couldn't tell what it was like, but he took the hand silently and stood up. "I just don't know what the boss wants us to do." Long Qingxie touched his chin, bowed his head and remained silent for a while, and said, "Let's help me find someone." Looking for someone? Chongguangji opened his mouth and stammered for a long time, but he didn't dare to break out, "No, boss, you've worked so hard to let us find someone for you." Dragon Qing evil pick eyebrows, eyes slightly turned, gently glanced at the eye Chongguangji. "So what?" Chongguangji's face turned red and he didn't know how to continue. "In the evening, Chongguangji will come back to everyone gathered in the stockade." Cough. Chongguangji coughed twice. Everyone in front of him looks at Long Qingxie whispering. However, Long Qingxie sits on one side of the stool, lowers his head and touches his fingers, and turns a deaf ear to everyone's comments in front of him. "Ah. Well, everyone be quiet." Chongguangji glanced at Long Qingxie with Yu Guang, and saw that Long Qingxie still didn't respond. Then he said, "From today on, our Chongguang regiment has an arduous task to assign to you. Please pay attention to it." As soon as they heard that there was an important task, they all stopped talking and quietly listened to Chongguangji in front of them. "Well, the one sitting on my right is, yes, the new boss of our Chongguang group." Then he turned his head and looked at the dragon. He coughed awkwardly. "That, boss, how about you?" Long Qingxie impatiently clenched his fist, scared Chongguangji to turn his head, and took out the portrait of Long Qingxie from his arms. "Now, we're going to search for these people in the whole city. If we find them, please let them come to our Chongguang regiment base as soon as possible. There's a big reward here." The side head looks at the dragon again. The dragon opens his fingers and continues to look at his fingers. Then he breathes and distributes the paper in his hand. On the drawing paper, there are 7 people, namely Shengguan, Mu Xiuming, Nanganji, Situ Lan, Meng Bai, Qi Yiz, and Yunwu. "Boss. 7. Let's go and find out." Someone protested, "Well, we are such a powerful team, how can we because of these little things?" "What a trifle." Chongguangji's face was pale, and he was afraid. He turned to look at Long Qingxie, swallowed his saliva, and scolded angrily, "What's the new boss saying?" People are full of complaints, but looking at Chongguangji, they are so afraid of this unknown person in front of them, and it's hard to continue to say anything. Seeing that the order was almost finished, Long Qingxie stood up and walked out. "I will come again tomorrow night. I hope to see your ability." All of a sudden, he said, "You'd better ask me quietly. Don't let the wind out to the beast gate, otherwise, I'll take all your lives." Looking at Long Qingxie's back disappearing at the gate of the courtyard, Chongguangji finally breathed out, sat down on the ground and murmured, "It's strange to recognize a boss. I don't know what his name is or what he looks like." In the early morning of the next day, all the people were called out by Chongguangji and drove out of the stockade to look for the 6 people on the picture in the whole city. Standing on the street full of people, Chongguangji suddenly realized that the people who made a big disturbance in the stockade last night might not be simple, because on the reward notice, he saw the wanted notices for the 7 people, Long Qingxie. Instantly, his face turned pale. He could not help muttering to himself, and his hands began to shake, "I'm just an ordinary citizen in the upper world. I didn't expect to be involved in this terrible thing. What should I do?" Looking at the price of the reward on the reward order, Chongguangji turned pale with fright. In the street, the men of 10,000 beasts came and went. Chongguangji was so scared that he lowered his head, put the paper in his arms, and walked forward quickly. Aimless search. Long Qingxie is still wearing a hat, sitting in the inn, watching the countless people coming and going from the beast gate below, and the people of Chongguan group walking on the road. With a slight frown, Long Qingxie turns his head and glimpses the portraits of the 8 people on the wanted warrant. He hesitates in his heart whether he is right in doing so. But suddenly saw Chang Guangji head down, carrying the painting paper in his arms, like protecting some treasures, mouth slightly raised. One day, nothing happened. When Chang Guangji looked at the terrible figure in the hat appeared at the door again, he almost peed his pants. Old. Chang Guangji's expression now felt that he was about to cry, but he still managed to laugh. Now, he really wanted to apologize for the collision last night. He was afraid that if the master was upset and killed himself, it would be too late to cry. How's it going? Long Qingxie didn't look at him. He was wearing a hat, and his whole body was buried in the shadow. But now, why is Long Qingxie so terrible? That. Chang Guangji was sweating. He touched his forehead, but he felt a damp and cool air. A cold wind came and his back was cool. Not found. Long Qingxie walked straight past the crowd and sat on the stool. With the hat slightly raised, Chong Guangji and others shrunk their heads. Obviously, everyone already knew the identity of the person in front of them. Well, these adults may. Chong Guangji stands in front of Long Qingxie and feels that the strong pressure makes him kneel down. He wants to cry very much. Don't worry. Dragon Qing Evil Light said, you do well. Then he stood up and walked out. I hope you don't try to make me unhappy. Gradually disappeared into the night. Chong Guangji took a long breath and turned to look at the brothers around him. He was a little embarrassed, but when he saw the people around him, he also took a breath. Brothers. Chong Guangji gave a bitter smile, we seem to have provoked some extraordinary people. There was silence. The moon is like water. It's a little cold when it comes to people. Long Qingxie stands in the moonlight and looks down. The stockade is on a small mountain. You can see the city with fireworks below. You sigh, then you look down with a sneer and suddenly leap down. Of course, Long Qingxie also knew that he could not completely rely on them, so he continued to walk around the city with his hat. But aimlessly for a few days, there was still no progress, which made him a little frustrated. Long Qingxie walked towards the remote part of the town, hoping to find something here. Around the town are some simple small villages. The more you go eastward, the more you can see the low houses and lush trees in front of you. It seems that the air in the town is a little fresher and cooler than that in the city. He thought, maybe everyone has seen the wanted order on the wanted list in the city, so it is hidden in the most remote part of the city. Perhaps, around the city, people are still very simple, there is no bad idea. So Long Qingxie went on. Through a path filled with yellow sand, Long Qingxie finally came to the first village. It seems that the village is not big, and there should be only about a dozen families. He suddenly thought that he heard in the inn a few days ago that a man had fallen from his family and smashed the roof of his house. He suddenly thought that everyone would be so shocking to appear in some place. I can't help but feel nervous in my heart. I'm afraid that if the people of the Beast Gate know this, they will be arrested. When walking into this village, Long Qingxie only saw a few old people sitting under the eaves in the sun, and a few cats lazily looking at Long Qingxie. It seemed that they suddenly found that they were not people in the village. They immediately raised their hair on their necks, yelled at Long Qingxie and rushed into a villager's home. After a while, I finally saw a young man come out of a small yard. He looked at the dragon and was stunned. After a long time, the young man turned and rushed back to the room. The whole village came out. All the people gathered in front of the mysterious man wearing a bamboo hat, with all kinds of knives, guns, sticks and other people holding pots and pans. Who are you? A slightly older man asked, holding the fork in his hand, his eyes full of vigilance. Long Qingxie looks at the village, but a woman in front of him suddenly raises her hand and grabs his hat. A flash of anger hit the dragon's evil brain. He raised his hand to grasp the woman's hand, frowned. What do you want to do? As soon as the people around him heard this person's voice so cold, he was still angry, and he also grasped the woman's hand, and instantly became angry. A man with a pot smashed at the dragon's evil face. Dragon Ching evil eyebrow micro see you, side head avoid, light way, I just come to look for a person. Looking for someone? Several men looked at each other, but they were still very alert. Who are you looking for? Who the hell are you? Open your hat and let's have a look. Long Qingxie chuckled, but in the hat's face, it was full of indifference, no extra feelings. I'm just looking for someone. You say there is no, who I am and what relationship you have. The words made everyone more angry, and immediately surrounded the dragon more tightly. It's not good for you to know who I am. He unconsciously pulled the edge of the hat and said in a deep voice, I just want to ask you if anyone suddenly landed in your village. If so, please show me that person. Obviously, many people's faces in the crowd suddenly changed. Their eyes looked at the dragon in front of them and asked, who are you? It's obvious that there is. Long Qingxie hooked the corner of his mouth and pushed away the crowd to walk inside. But the villagers around him surrounded him. You must not go. Who are you? Dare to enter our village at will some people angrily scold and run towards the dragon. Long Qingxie is anxious to see his friend, but he really doesn't want to hurt the innocent, so he has to give way. However, these people still refuse to let him go and continue to attack Long Qingxie. But in the eyes of Long Qingxie, their attack was not as good as the minions around Chongguangji. He had to give way again. At this time, Long Qingxie suddenly saw that a man came out of a hut in the village. The man looked out twice and went in again. After a while, the man came out again, but he didn't come out, but leaped out, toward the direction of Dragon's Evil, holding a long sword in his hand, stabbing at Dragon's Evil. Long Qingxie grins. It's Meng Bai. All of a sudden, he envelopes his whole body with black fighting spirit. The terrible pressure on Long Qingxie makes the villagers around him pale and almost suffocate, but Meng Bai, not far away, stops walking. The surprise in his eyes makes him seem to be shining. Long Qingxie! He exclaimed in surprise, which surprised the villagers around him. Do you know each other? Long Qingxie still didn't take off his hat, but Meng Bai also knew that he was very happy now. He turned to the people around him and said, everyone, thank you, but this man is my friend. You can rest assured that he won't be a threat to me. You'd better let him in. I have to have a good chat with him. People finally suddenly, so it is, at this time we finally embarrassed smile, in front of the dragon Qingxie a strong apology. Long Qingxie doesn't care. He cares more about why Meng Bai hasn't appeared after disappearing for so long. What makes him care more is that Meng Bai's body is obviously injured, and the villagers' reaction is too big. Long Qingxie was introduced into the villager's house where he had been staying. The villager poured tea for them. Then he said with a simple and honest smile that you talked and walked out of the room. Without saying a word, Long Qingxie stretched out his hand to Meng Bai's wrist and frowned slightly. Was it the injury caused by the destruction of the transmission array at that time? Meng Bai pursed his lips and said bitterly, after being washed away that day, I met the pursuers of Wangwoman on the road. Most of these people were in the same level as me. I was besieged and ran away with difficulty. It seemed that they had some important task at that time. After they hurt me, they didn't continue to chase me. But these days, I am here. The heart heals while listening. Long Qingxie nodded, took back his hand, drank a cup of tea, and said, we need to find the rest as soon as possible, otherwise there will be more danger in one more day. Meng Bai stood up with a smile and said, let's go now. After all, my injuries are almost the same. It's safe for two people to be together. Join them as soon as possible. I think they should also be hidden in some remote places. Long Qingxie also thought it was reasonable. He nodded and said, I heard in the inn the day before yesterday that some people seem to have fallen from their families. Maybe they were people we knew. We might as well have a good look in this village now. When we find them, we'll go to the city to have a look. Meng Bai nodded and agreed. After their discussion, they felt that since they wanted to leave, it was better not to disturb anyone. But after all, Meng Bai had lived here for such a long time, so they discussed with each other, and then simply left silver for the master in the room, and then left in a hurry. On the other hand, Chong Guangji is thinking of infinite possibilities. He looked up at the brothel in front of him, very strange and tangled, and looked down at the two girls who were very beautiful on the drawing paper. Xindao, maybe this is the safest place. Scratch your head and look left and right. After all, you are so old that you have never entered the brothel. If you go in this way in my heart, I gasped for myself, gritted my teeth and stamped my feet, and walked towards the brothel. As soon as you enter the brothel, you can see all kinds of powder and fat in your face. When you go to Chongguang, your face turns red. Looking at the enchanting beauties in front of you, you can quickly avoid your sight, but there are more beauties everywhere. How can I find it? Chong Guangji found that he really found a good place for himself. I smile bitterly in my heart. I think about the people on the paper carefully in my heart. Then I look at them one by one on the faces of these women. From the first floor to the fourth floor, his eyes were dazzled, and there were countless women's hands touching him intentionally or unintentionally. He looked at him like a flower, which made him unable to control. He coughed twice and came out in a hurry. As soon as I got to the door, I suddenly saw a man coming. This man is not very tall. He is a head shorter than Chong Guangji. With a cold face, he doesn't say a word and doesn't see much at a glance, and goes straight into the brothel. But Chong Guangji looked at him more, because he felt that the man looked too much like the one in the picture, that woman. Being puzzled by his own inexplicable thoughts, Chong Guangji was very helpless. He shook his head and went out. But just at this time, a small team of 10,000 beasts suddenly rushed in. Nobody move. Although they are not strong enough, they have unlimited deterrent power among these ordinary people with the name of the Beast Gate. Everyone knows the evil name of the Beast Gate, so they dare not provoke. As soon as the team entered the brothel, people in the brothel screamed. All shut up. The leader gave a cold drink, and all the people in the brothel were scared and didn't dare to say a word more. Everybody listen to me. I believe everyone knows that there is an order to look for people. Those people who have been wanted recently, if you see them, you'd better give them an explanation and reward them. If not, then give me more attention. Did you hear that? Listen, I heard. The women trembled and said. Until this time, the leader of the Beast Gate finally nodded with satisfaction, turned to the people behind him and said, Go, one by one, look carefully for me. Yes, after that, the people in black, who were standing behind the leader, came out one after another and got into the crowd. They were looking for people one by one, as like as two peas in the heart of the Sogan. He stood up on tiptoe and looked at the drawing paper in the hand of the man. He opened his eyes in astonishment, exactly the same as the portrait in his hand. He bowed his head and pondered for a moment, then suddenly lowered his head and went into the brothel. Excuse me, excuse me. Chong Guangji lowered his head and felt guilty. The person who went in just now should be the woman. That's right, or maybe he was wrong. But since the people of the Beast Gate came to find someone, it means that they must have seen something. With that in mind, Chongguang rushed in. He rushed to the front of the Beast Gate and took the lead to the second floor, because when he went out, he saw the man walking towards the second floor. He rushed to the second floor, his face pale. He never dared to provoke the people of the Beast Gate, but now, he was afraid to fight against the people of the Beast Gate. Looking around, I didn't see the people of the Beast Gate. Then I vomited and went on. Looking at the closed rooms in front of him, he didn't know what to do. Although from his own point of view, at least ordinary people can't fight with him, he was afraid of meeting some terrible people. But what else could he do? He was more willing to help the mysterious man who had never seen his face. After all, he dares to fight against the people of the Beast Gate. He has been oppressed by the Beast Gate for such a long time. He has already had enough of it. Now another fierce man dares to fight against the Beast Gate and gives him a chance to help. Can he not grasp it? As a result, Chong Guangji hardly thought too much and decided what to do. I hope I made the right choice. Standing in front of the door of a wing room, Chong Guangji took a deep breath, suddenly raised his hand and pushed open the door in front of him. Then he twisted his body, nimbly went in and quickly closed the door. At a glance, he saw a vivid picture. Chong Guangji's face turned red instantly. What are you doing? The man inside glared at him angrily. If he didn't see that Chong Guangji had some skills, he would have hit him directly. Chong Guangji coughed twice and bowed himself calmly. Sorry, I went wrong. Then he stepped out in silence and closed the door with a bang. With the first time and the second time, he was not so afraid. Chong Guangji took a deep breath, walked towards the door of the second room and pushed the door open. Suddenly, he saw a Chiyu man coming towards him with his bare arms. He was so fierce that he swallowed his saliva and quickly closed the door. All of a sudden, Chong Guangji heard a rush of footsteps at the end of the corridor, and the footsteps soon stopped somewhere. Chong Guangji immediately realized that the situation was not good, the people of the Beast Gate had come up. So he speeded up and went to the next door. At this time, Chong Guangji suddenly saw that, not far from the side, the man with a cold face just now came out from another corner and came towards his own direction. Chong Guangji's secret way is not good. Now the people of the Beast Gate are behind him. He has even heard the footsteps of them. If you let the person in front of you go, you will be found. Suddenly, no matter whether the man was dressed as a man or not, he decided to fight. So the next second, I saw Chong Guangji rushed over with the fastest speed in his life, held the man in his arms, and quickly covered his mouth with one hand. Then he turned to a door behind him and closed it. All this is completed between the electric light and flint. At the moment of completion, Chong Guangji heard the sound of the beast door outside getting closer and closer. At this time, the eyebrows of the people in his arms were cold, and Chong Guangji felt a very strong murderous air. He couldn't help feeling like falling into an ice cave. Oh, my God, it seems that I'm saving another amazing person, Chong Guangji thought silently in his heart. But at this time, the door of the room was suddenly covered by a shadow. Doo-doo. There is a knock at the door. The man in his arms looks at Chong Guangji, and his murderous spirit disappears. Chong Guangji makes a silent gesture towards him. The man in his arms is stunned, and then immediately understands what he has found, so he nods to him. Chong Guangji was very happy. It seemed that this man was really the one he was looking for. He was very happy and quickly let go of him. Man frowned and looked at Chong Guangji. He didn't know if he thought his strength was too low, so he reached out and pointed behind him, indicating Chong Guangji to hide behind him. Chong Guangji was stunned, a touch of anger flashed on his face, and simply shook his head. Let's not say that the person in front of us may be a woman disguised as a man. When do we need a girl to protect us? What's more, even if he is really a man, at this time, he should not be left to do nothing, right? Don't forget, he is also the former boss of a den of thieves. Man glanced at Chong Guangji. Since he didn't plan to hide, he didn't ask for it. With a flash of his hand, 2 daggers appeared in the palm of his hand, one of them was thrown into Chong Guangji's arms, and then he quietly looked out the door. The dagger in his hand was raised, obviously like an assassin. That's very thoughtful. Chong Guangji thought in his heart. Originally, I was still struggling with my weapons. I couldn't use them in such a place. If only I had smaller weapons, the people in front of me would throw them directly. 2 people stand behind the door together, ready to fight at any time. As long as the people of the beast door dare to break in, they will directly fight. However, after waiting for a long time, they found that after knocking on the door, the people of the beast door stopped at the door and did not come in. She's in there. A man from the beast gate said, You too, guard this place for me. You report to the headquarters for me. We can't handle this man. Hearing this, Chong Guangji couldn't help but turn his head and look at the man beside him. Anyway, he didn't really see that the man in front of him was not so strong. He was so powerful. There were only 2 or 3 people left at the door, and most of them followed the captain. For a moment, it was quiet again. The man in front of him suddenly sneered twice and said, "It seems that I have to jump off the building again today." Then he looked down at his clothes, turned to Chong Guangji and said, "Thank you very much." Chong Guangji heard that it was really a girl's voice. He was overjoyed. He quickly took out the drawing paper from his arms and said, "Are you this person?" The next moment, the man, who was just a good talker, suddenly turned cold. Before Chong Guangji could react, the dagger was already on his throat. "Who are you and why are you looking for me? Who asked you to look for it? Are you from the Beast Gate? Say this cross-dresser is Qi Yi's." In order to facilitate action, so she deliberately disguised as a man. Since the teleportation array broke up with everyone, she has been using this picture, looking for other partners while avoiding the pursuit of the Beast Gate. After all, the appearance of women's clothes is too eye-catching and easy to recognize. Chong Guangji gave a bitter smile, and there was a cold sweat on his forehead. The man in front of him is as powerful as his boss. It seems that the boss is really not simple, and he knows such a terrible existence. But think about it. They are all people who dare to fight against the Beast Gate. Can they be weak? Thinking about this in my heart, I was not satisfied with the action in my hand. I hastily handed the dagger back to Qi Yi's, and showed a kind of flattering smile on my face, that, "Someone let us find you." Who? Qi Night Color coldly asks away. There are so many people who want to find her. Who knows who is above this person? Chong Guangji turned to look outside the door. There was no movement among those people. Then he got closer. But before meeting, Qi Yi's was still very alert, so he had to stop and whispered, "Aren't you all on the reward order?" "He's one of them, but I don't know which one. He only told me, don't let the people of the Beast Gate find that we're looking for you." Qi Night Leng blink, bowed to think for a moment, suspiciously looked at the man in front for a long time. The hard is to think that just now this man or help himself avoid a chase, although did not play any effect. "You take me to see that man." Before he finished speaking, he suddenly came forward, and the dagger stood up to Chong Guangji's neck and said in a cold voice, "If you dare to cheat me, you will be the first one to kill me." Chong Guangji smiles bitterly. It's worse to laugh than to cry. Which immortal have I collided with recently? Well, of course, how can I cheat you? After all, you can kill me 10 in my realm. Qi Yi's took a quiet look at him, then took out the dagger in his hand, went to the window behind him, opened the window and looked down. Chong Guangji is still in a daze, looking at the woman in front of him who is very handsome and disguised as a man, swallowing saliva. "Won't you go?" Qi Yi suddenly jumps up to the window and turns to look at Chong Guangji. However, he sees that Chong Guangji suddenly returns to his senses. He looks at Qi Yi's in horror and points to his nose, "Call me?" Qi Yi's couldn't help but roll his eyes and get out of the window. Before Chong Guangji could shout, he heard a rush of footsteps in the brothel. Then his face changed and he turned out of the window. "Let's go." Qi Yi's dragged him behind him and turned towards a road. "Tell me where to go." Chong Guangji Leng quickly with Qi Night to a direction. Qi Night to look forward, only to see in front of a not high hills. Looking around, there are countless people in black chasing after them. Eyebrows slightly wrinkled, snake sword has appeared in the hands. This one, except the hills, is a flat, even hiding place is not. It's trouble. Qi Night thought. Almost there. Qi Yi said in a deep voice, "They have caught up. If we go further, we will have no place to hide." Chong Guangji's forehead was full of sweat. He wiped it and turned to look at the man in black who was getting closer behind him. His face was pale. But there is still a long time to go before my stronghold, and if it goes on like this, I'm afraid I can't keep my place. Thinking about this, Chong Guangji suddenly stopped, turned around and said seriously, "You go first, I'll cover you." Chi Yi's frowned and looked at the man in black coming in front of him. He pursed his mouth and didn't speak the valley where Yunjiajin is hiding. Yunwu is also very concerned about Long Qingxie and others in his heart. He just brought the Murong family out from the claw of the beast gate. At this time, he is wanted outside again. When he meets the Yun family army and the killer corps, Yunwu knows clearly that he can't go out to look for them at this time. She believes that her friends are constantly looking for themselves. What she has to do now is to immediately understand the current situation of the Cloud Army and the Killer Corps, and make the best initial arrangement with the fastest speed. With Gao Yu and others walking towards the place where they live, the cold water around them has been standing silently on the right side. On the left side, there are 3 people who have been chirping and not listening. They have been trained for so long, and their murderous night is increasing day by day. However, when they face Cloud Dance, they are still the same as before. "Xiao Wu, what is your strength now? Why can't I feel it at all?" No Doubt asked. Now the strength of the 3 of them is not low. After entering the Killer Corps, they have made rapid progress. They can be regarded as first-class experts in the current corps. Originally, they thought that they could shorten the gap between them and Yunwu. But when I really face Yunwu, I find that I can only look up to her as before, and this time I feel stronger than before, as if Yunwu has stood on a height they can't reach. Yes, Xiao Wu, what is your strength?" Xiao Zhu is also very curious. Even Gao Yu, who is leading the way, can't help but listen. You know, today Gao Yu is already a strong man in the realm of Wuzong. Except for the Beast Gate, he seldom meets opponents, but he still feels too far away from Yunwu. He even doubted whether Cloud Dance had reached the legendary level. Cloud Dance mouthed a hook, but also did not hide, just entered the Wuling realm soon, not much fierce. As soon as the voice fell, it was quiet. Cloud Dance looked around at the people, but found that everyone was surprised to look at her, never thought, this just separated how long, she has risen to the Wuling realm. "Teacher Master, you're so good." Cold Water said a difficult. Cloud Dance thought about it and said, "It's just a coincidence and good luck." Light a word then lightly fluttered of cover in the past, but didn't mention oneself in the weekdays is how to train. No matter when you have time, you will directly enter the state of cultivation. Over time, nature's cultivation speed is faster than that of other people. In addition, you are always in a passive state. How many times you have gone through life and death parting along the way, the huge pressure and reward will naturally stimulate your potential. Of course, Yunwu didn't want to say this. What about you? What strength is it now? Leng Qingshui scratched his head and said, "I'm progressing in general. Now I've just reached the Wuzong realm. There's still a long way to go to upgrade." Yunwu nodded. She was very satisfied with Leng Qingshui's strength. At least it showed that she had been working hard since she left, but the chance was worse. She was not so lucky. It seemed that she had to help her. Yunwu thought of his inherited summoner's tomb, in which a considerable part of the ear room can be opened. "Because I have been busy all the time, I didn't go to see what was there. Now I'm meeting with you. It's time to take out the contents and treat you well." With this thought, Yunwu immediately made up her mind. "I am also a Wuzong state." No Heart also open-mouthed to say. "But I just came up. Because of a coincidence problem, I snatched a spirit grass from the hand of the Beast Gate, which made my cultivation much faster. Otherwise, I can't reach this level. I'm a little weaker than Zhu." Ling Feng embarrassed said, "Because there are few opportunities to go out, all not so good luck, but we have been working hard, now is the middle of Wuzuan. But we're all breaking through. If there's no accident, I'm afraid we can enter the later period of Wuzuan this month." Xiao Zhu said quickly, for fear that Yunwoo would look down on her. Yunwoo chuckles and rubs Xiaozhu's head. Then he doesn't say much, but makes plans in his heart. They went all the way to the place where they lived. Although the houses here were simple and crude, fortunately the area in the valley was large enough. The soldiers were all 5 in one room, while others like Gao Yu already had their own places to handle affairs. As for Yunwoo, as the real boss of Yunjiajin and Killer Corps, someone has arranged for her to build another house for Yunwoo since she arrived in the valley. According to the speed of these people, I'm afraid that Yunwoo's residence can be completed without waiting for the evening. Chief, sit down first. There are still many people who want to see you later. Gao Yu said to Yunwoo mysteriously as he asked the people to sit down. Oh. Yunwoo picks her eyebrows. There are so many surprises coming here today. She even wants to know who the surprise is. Who else? Gao Yu shook his head mysteriously and said, my subordinates have sent someone to invite me. Please wait a moment. Cloud Dance, helpless, had to sit quietly waiting, while in the heart guess who will be. Waiting did not last long. Soon, the door of the room was directly pushed open, a hasty figure stumbled in. Little Dance? As soon as the man entered the door, he looked around for something. Finally, when he saw the Cloud dancing on the first seat, he trembled. Cloud Dance, stand up from the seat, can't believe looking at the person in front. I don't know how many times I think of him in the past. Every time I think of him, I will evoke a strong heartache and a deep hatred for the Beast Gate. It is a deep hatred, and there is no way to relieve it. In the past, the scenes of Cloud Dance that the Cloud family was destroyed will never be forgotten. What she can't let go of most is that she didn't have the ability to protect her family at that time. Yunwoo step by step forward, looking at the person in front of him, his mouth moved, but he couldn't say a word. Standing opposite, Yunlungi reaches out his hand, as if trying to hold her in his arms, but he still can't reach out. Father. Finally, Yunwoo tried to press down the beating heart of her chest, and called out softly. Yunlungi's eyes turn red in an instant. He has an angular face. I don't know how many vicissitudes and tribulations he has experienced. Now after so long, he can still see the people of the Cloud family. Both father and daughter have an unspeakable feeling in their hearts. Little Dance. Yunlungi reaches out his hand and hugs Yunwoo tightly. Surprisingly, Yunwoo doesn't reach out to push. We are connected by blood. We meet again after a long time. Both of them feel deeply happy for the reunion at this time. The people around him felt a little distressed, and Gao Yu knew what they were feeling at this time. The Cloud family was so powerful in the past, but they could only end up being exterminated. At this time, ordinary people would sympathize with each other when they met. What's more, they were still father and daughter. After a long time, Cloud Cold will just let go of hand, two people's moods slightly calmed some. Gao Yu came up and said, sit down first. Cloud Dance lightly nodded, and Cloud Cold sat together. What a surprise you gave me. I didn't expect you to be together. What's the matter? Cloud Dance asked. Father, you are not. Yunling sighed. Well, it's a long story. At the beginning, I fell into the hands of the Beast Gate. Those guys mistakenly thought I was dead, so they directly left me on the Wanku Cliff. Wanku Cliff. Yunwoo's eyes were cold, but he didn't expect that his father had escaped from that place. Now, his hatred for the Beast Gate was even stronger. According to the idea of the Beast Gate, I must think that even if I don't really die, I will definitely fall to death in places like Wankuya. Anyway, I won't have a chance to live. Yunlungi sneered, as if mocking them, but they never thought that I met Yunjiajun at the bottom of the 10,000 cave cliff. It's also my destiny. At that time, the Yun family army and the Killer Regiment had been training there for a long time to improve their strength. Gao Yu said that he stayed as you ordered. After the destruction of the Cloud family, I have nowhere to go. If I want revenge, I have to make myself strong, so I have been following the Cloud family army since then. I am making progress with them and waiting to join you. Yunlingyi looked at Yunwu with a rare kindness. I thought it would take a long time to see you again, but I didn't expect this day to come so soon. God helps me, too. Chief. Gao Yu stood up and said to Yunwu, thanks to the help of Master Yun these days, when he was at Wangkuya, he told me the news about Wanwoman. He said that Wangkuya might be unsafe. The activities of Wanwoman in that area are very frequent. We suggest that we move out. Later, after discussion, we decided to move out of there. Yunwu nodded. No wonder he didn't see anyone when he got there, and it seemed that everyone left in such a hurry. You are right. Cloud Dance said with appreciation, it has been discovered by the Beast Gate, and it cheated me with your lives before, trying to lead me to the bait. Then, Yunwu told everyone what happened after she came to the human world. Suddenly, everyone was filled with righteous indignation. The Gate of Beasts is abominable. It's such a trick. And he took Xiao Mu. Xiao Zhu said angrily. Xiao Wu, let's go and rescue Xiao Mu at once. Unintentionally frowned and said. Yes, Xiao Wu, now we are strong enough. The Cloud Family Army and the Killer Regiment are on standby at any time. Plus the many forces you just mentioned, I don't believe we can't deal with the Beast Gate. Ling Feng counted his winning rate and said with confidence. All the people present looked at Yunwu with eager eyes, hoping that she could come out and say something. As long as Yunwu said yes, then they would not hesitate. Just then, Gao Yu, who was always steady, suddenly opened his mouth. Chief, I don't think it's time yet. As soon as this remark came out, it immediately attracted several people's dissatisfaction. What do you mean, General? Are we not strong enough? Yes, General, Xiao Wu said that we have so many partners. What are we afraid of? Yunwu didn't listen to the people around him. Instead, she put a pair of eyes on Gao Yu and opened her lips gently, say it. As soon as the voice of Cloud Dance fell, other people shut up and looked at Gao Yu. Gao Yu nodded and said, fighting is not a joke. We have a lot to prepare. As the old saying goes, if you know yourself and the enemy, you can win 100 battles. We only know that the Beast Gate is powerful. We also know that many places in the human world and the upper world are the forces of the Beast Gate. But where did the Beast Gate deploy these forces? How many experts are there? Where do we need to attack from? These are all things we need to think about. When the words came out, all the people who were still fighting suddenly became obedient. They corrected their posture one by one and looked at Gao Yu seriously. They all have a passion to destroy the Beast Gate, but in terms of the experience of leading soldiers to fight, all of you may not be equal to Gao Yu. Yunwu nodded in agreement. She naturally thought of what Gao Yu said, so she didn't agree when everyone was angry, but she didn't want to interrupt everyone's interest. Now Gao Yu says that Yunwu looks at other people's reactions and finds that unexpectedly no one feels depressed. On the contrary, Yunwu sees more fierce fighting spirit in their eyes. Cloud danced the corner of the mouth to Hook, Wei, since so, do not know what idea do you have? Gao Yu said, to tell you the truth, I started to take action after we learned that Wanshuman wanted to use the people of Murong family to lead you into the net. On the one hand, they sent people to rescue people, on the other hand, they sent people to sneak in at the time of the chaos and inquire about the strength and deployment of the Beast Gate. Now 3 days have passed. If there is no accident, the people I sent out will come back these 2 days. Chief, it's better to wait a day or two, and when they come back, we'll discuss how to fight the enemy. Cloud Dance a little thought, think really can only do so. Now she can't get in touch with Long Qingxie, but their strength is not bad. There should be no problem. The only one who will be affected is Xiao Mu. Now she is more or less clear about Xiao Mu's body. If what she expected was right, the purpose of capturing Xiao Mu by the Beast Gate should be the same as that of trapping Xuan at the beginning. She has been captured for a whole day. I'm afraid Xiao Mu has been imprisoned. Yunwu rubbed his temple with a headache. Although he was worried about Xiao Mu's safety, he knew that the Beast Gate would never do anything cruel to Xiao Mu. After all, they had to rely on Xiao Mu's strength. And if you want to rescue him, the only way is to enter the headquarters of the Beast Gate. In this way, they will return to the origin. They must deploy as soon as possible to attack the Beast Gate. After careful thinking, Yunwu finally made up her mind. Well, wait for them to come back. Yunwu spent half a day learning about the scale of Yunjiajin and Killer Core from Gao Yu and Lenking Shui. Unexpectedly, after leaving, both Yunjiajin and Killer Core have made unparalleled progress. Not only in quantity, but also in quality. Report to the leader, the total number of Yunjia army is 1,300, which is divided into 13 regiments. Each regiment has a general. The strength is in the middle period of Wuzong. Among the generals, there are 20 in Wuzong realm, 150 in Wuzuan peak, 300 in Wuzuan middle period, and 500 in Wuzuan initial period. The rest are in Wushan peak. Report to the leader, there are 600 killers in the group, which belong to 20 teams. Each team has a leader. The strength varies between the middle and early stage of Wuzuan. Among the killers, there are 30 in Wuzong realm, 200 in Wuzuan peak and 300 in Wuzuan middle stage. The rest killers are in the early stage of Wuzuan. As soon as the words of cold water were finished, Yunwu's eyes lit up instantly. There are so many strong people in Wuzong. Yes, Ling Qingshui said seriously, it didn't look like a fake. In any case, Yunwu didn't expect that today's experts in Yunjiajin and Killer Core have reached this number. Originally, I was worried that I would not be strong enough to deal with the Beast Gate, but now I am more confident when I hear Ling Qingshui and Gao Yu's report. The Cloud Family Army and the Killer Army add up to only 100 experts in the Wuzong realm, not to mention other powerful armies. Moreover, the strength of their partners has all reached the realm of Emperor Wu. In addition to the Phoenix, Dragon and other races they have won over, they have a greater chance of winning against the Beast Gate. Cloud Dance Mouth Light Hook, Heart Reed, Xiao Wood, waiting for us to save you. Beast Gate Headquarters. Sure enough, as Yunwu expected, Xiao Mu was not treated cruelly. He didn't mean to scold him, and even served him well. The only bad thing was that he was not allowed to go in and out freely. It was also on the main hall. It was still the metal cage that once took charge of the Murong family. There was an invisible border on the outside, but inside, there were all kinds of utensils. Beds, cabinets, tables and chairs, everything is very luxurious. If you put it in the human world, you may not be able to enjoy it. If it is not for the appearance of a cage, you really think Xiao Mu is invited to be a guest. But these things are worthless in Xiao Mu's eyes. After being caught the day before yesterday, they were directly left in the cage, and people around them were also sent to defend them for fear that he might escape. Xiao Mu also tried to touch the border around him, but even if he was close to it, he would feel his qi and blood surging. Now it's much more powerful than the one used to lock Murong family. Finally, when Xiao Mu tried to see if he could open the border again, a voice of Yin Duck appeared on the main hall. Don't waste your efforts. Do you think the boundary can be opened so easily? Xiao Mu was stunned, turned his head and looked at the Shengguansheng without expression. He didn't know when it would appear in the upper seat, and his eyes were calm. Shengguansheng's eyes were cold. Looking at Xiao Mu, he sneered, I look like I'm going to die. Do you think I'll kill you? Xiao Mu looked at him quietly and did not speak. Falling into the hands of the Beast Gate, he did not think about what he would end up with, but no matter what he would end up with, he would not shrink back. Shengguansheng leaned back on his seat as if he was tired. He raised his hand and rubbed his temple. Seeing him like this, all the people in black around lowered their heads and did not dare to look at him, as if anyone who looked at him more would be killed directly. Shengguansheng is really a little tired. There are so many things happening these days that he feels that his heart is more than his strength. First Yunwu escapes from prison, then Xuan explodes. Finally, Yunwu returns and falls into the trap. Unexpectedly, he doesn't know where the army comes out to rescue her. Fortunately, he got back a small wood, otherwise the base of the beast gate would be destroyed. Shangguanzhang raised his hand, then looked for a man in black standing on one side and asked, "What's the matter with the building below?" The man in black came forward respectfully and said, "Back to the master, we are building as fast as we can. It is expected that the border will be set tomorrow." Shangguanzhang nodded with satisfaction, and then order to go down, speed up. If we delay one more day, we will be in danger for one more day. Yes, the man in black took orders and immediately backed down. Then he quickly went to the dungeon. Xiaomu quietly looked at all this, did not understand what they said below, and did not understand why they had caught themselves but did not mean to deal with it. "What do you want to do?" Xiaomu asked coldly. Shangguanzhang sneered and said, "Don't you hate us? You can rest assured that I will neither kill you nor torture you. On the contrary, I will always be good to you, but you will never want to leave the gate of beasts." Xiaomu frowned at him tightly. He didn't understand what he meant. How could he never let himself go? Shangguanzhang closed his eyes and said to himself, "For many years, countless energy bodies have tried to get rid of the control of our beast gate, but in the end they have become our energy cornerstone. The only thing I didn't expect was the snow silver. When she was captured, she would not resist, but finally she gave me such a big surprise. It seems that I still can't take it lightly." Shangguanzhang thought in his heart, if he had given some means to Xuan at the beginning, would it not have happened? But what he didn't know was that at first Xuan didn't resist, just because she was thinking about her in her heart. Now that she is safe, she has no memory. The cornerstone of energy? Xiaomu frowned, and a bad feeling flashed in his heart. Shangguanzhang glanced at him with some contempt in his eyes and said, "Yes, it's the energy cornerstone. Otherwise, what do you think I'm doing when I arrest you?" Xiaomu's heart trembled. "I know that the most fearless thing for people like you is to die. For the sake of your friend's righteousness, death is like home. But I won't let you die." Shangguanzhang said with a sneer, "Yunwu destroyed my last energy stone, but sent me a new one. I don't know whether it's lucky or unfortunate. Although you can't compare with snow silver, it's enough for me to use for a while." "You dream." Xiaomu said coldly, "Do you want me to work for the beast gate? Go daydreaming. Even if I die, I will not be one of you, you won't say that then." Shangguanzhang said, "How do you think our beast gate has made those energy footstones yield for a long time? Do you think they are all willing to stay? Of course not. Xiaowudaleng, how do you want to do?" "How?" A trace of cruelty flashed in Shangguanzhang's eyes. "Deprive you of your will, let you only have one idea from now on, that is to provide the energy for the base operation of our beast gate. Isn't that good?" Xiaomu's heart trembled, staring at Shangguanzhang, gnashing his teeth and spitting out two words, "Mean." "Ha ha ha." Shangguanzhang burst out laughing, "What about being mean? If you don't want to, I will use some means. Is it a good feeling that people who always hate the beast sect have to help their most hated forces deal with their friends and relatives in the past?" Xiaomu pursed his lips and looked at Shangguanzhang. He didn't say a word. He didn't doubt the means of the beast gate. Since Shangguanzhang said he had a way, he must have a way. At this time, a man in black came in from outside the hall, knelt respectfully in front of Shangguanzhang, and said, "Tell the sect leader that everything is ready, and we can start to capture the soul." When Xiaomu's pupils shrunk and the word, "capture soul," got into his ears, he instantly understood what Shangguanzhang meant by, depriving will. Ask for other people's soul, then he will show his own body, the energy remains unchanged, but there is no difference with other energy stones that have not yet become human. Seeing the look in Xiaomu's eyes, Shangguanzhang gave a sneer, waved his hand and said, "Take him down." "Yes," the man in black below answered, and then walked towards Xiaomu step by step. Somewhere in the upper bound, Long Qingxie and Meng Bai continue to come to the third village. The village is still desolate. After looking for it again, they still have no clue. Where can they be? Meng Bai was very depressed. He looked up at the bleak sky. A round sun was pressing on the sky, which was very depressing. Go to the city. Long Qingxie narrowed his eyes, turned his head and looked at the village again. Suddenly, he was stunned and said, "It's almost evening. Follow me to other places first." The two men went to the stronghold of Chongguang Regiment. All the way, they kept meeting countless people in black, which made them a little distressed, but they didn't want to have a head-on conflict with them, because if they had a head-on confrontation, they would attract more people from the beast sect. So they went further and further, and finally, they had completely deviated from where they wanted to go. It's getting dark. Long Qingxie and Meng Bai stand on the top of a mountain and look down the mountain, but suddenly they see a clear lake at the foot of the mountain, reflecting the stars and moonlight in the sky. The mist is steaming up from the lake until it disappears in the middle of the sky. And Long Qingxie looked at the lake, his eyes suddenly widened a lot. He could feel that his whole body was boiling, because standing on the top of the mountain so far away from the lake, he could still feel that there was plenty of spiritual energy in front of him. If he could practice in such a precious place, he would increase a lot of cultivation. He turned his head to see Meng Bai beside him, but he also looked in front of him and muttered to himself, "What is this place? This place is amazing. It's so full of spiritual power that it's really." Meng Bai and Long Qingxie's eyes are burning with flames. Without saying a word, they walk towards the lake below. Leap down the mountain, Dragon Qing Evil This just frowned tightly. Right in front of the lake, there is a huge palace. The palace is full of black air. Obviously, it is the home of 10,000 beasts. At the back of the palace, above the lake, there was a huge array of dharma, which wrapped the whole lake tightly. Two people put light footstep in a hurry, walk to Chi, take the weapon in the hand, insert the palace in front carefully to walk. The palace was so big that they couldn't cross it to see the lake behind. "Why don't we go first?" Meng Bai said softly, "When everyone gets together, we'll attack them together and eradicate them at one stroke." Long Qingxie also frowned and felt that this thing could only be like this. With a sigh, they quietly withdrew from the place where they had just come. The two men didn't breathe until they withdrew from the surveillance area of the Beast Gate. They walked in the direction they wanted to go. It seems that the place is not small. It should also be very important for the Beast Gate. Meng Bai said. It's no wonder that the strength of 10,000 beast men's subordinates has been improved so quickly. It seems that they are stained with the light of this lake. With a smile of evil, the dragon had an idea. Until late at night, they came to Chongguang Group's stronghold carefully. When they pushed the door, they were shocked by Meng Bai and Long Qingxie. Because everyone was tied up in the yard and gagged. Seeing Long Qingxie and Meng Bai come in, Chongguang quickly sobs. Although he can't speak, his voice is still very loud. Two people in the heart suddenly sink. Think is the person of 10,000 beast door already came over? Long Qingxing hurried forward and took down the cloth from Chongguang Ji's mouth. He said in a deep voice, "What's the matter?" Before he spoke, Chongguangji was about to shed tears. "You see, I said the boss would come back. They just didn't believe it. They said it was a trap and they were afraid that we would give them to the Beast Gate, so they tied us up, and none of us was missing. Now, they don't know what to do." Dragon Qing Xiaoleng in the eye surprise is even more, looks like found? Several members of Chongguang Regiment nodded in a hurry. Chongguang Ji said, "I found a girl, and they also found a great xia. Please help us. If you don't come back, we will be killed by them." Long Qingxie suddenly burst out laughing. Meng Bai looked at Long Qingxie inexplicably, pointed to these people and asked, "Why, are they all your people?" He greets Meng Bai to come in. After Long Qingxie unties Chongguangji, he asks him to untie other people outside. The two enter the thatched cottage which has just been repaired and sit down. It must be Qi Yi's. Meng Bai couldn't help laughing and sat on the stool laughing. The people here are all of their own. They trust them completely and don't have to worry too much. Long Qingxie bowed his head and pondered for a moment. He thought about what he had just said, and then nodded. They have already called me the eldest. From then on, they are directly under my control. I don't think we have any power here. Gather these people together and expand them to become our support in the upper world. Meng Bai opened his mouth and looked a little surprised. He turned his head and looked at the group of people rubbing his arms and legs outside the window. He didn't say anything for a long time. Of course, Long Qingxie understood what he meant. He picked up the pot on the table and poured him a glass of wine. He said faintly, "Don't forget what we saw today." The glass reached his mouth and showed a faint smile. "Don't worry about their growth at all. I believe they will make great progress if they practice there." Meng Bai nodded thoughtfully, and his heart seemed to be like that. Suddenly he heard a shout outside, and he couldn't help laughing. "Ah, who let you go?" "Well, I can do it. Are you not afraid that I will really kill you?" The corner of Long Qingxie's mouth was filled with a smile. They came out of the thatched cottage. At a glance, they saw the Shengguan and Qi Yis, who were very cautious and cold. "Dragon, dragon!" Meng Bai the Shengguan suddenly cried out. His eyes were about to fall. He opened his mouth wide and pointed to the fingers of the two people. He trembled for a long time. Finally, he was quiet. Turning to look around, I suddenly felt embarrassed and laughed. "You are really our people." Chang Guangji and others were very aggrieved, but because of the state of Shengguan, they didn't dare to talk, and their faces turned red. Come in, let's talk slowly." Meng Bai waved to the two men and was very happy. Shengguan and Qi Yis walked towards the hut. Long Qingxie turns to look at Chang Guangji. "Come in, too." At this time, Long Qingxie has already taken off his hat. Chang Guangji finally knows that his boss is called Long Qingxie. So Chang Guangji went into the hut. Several people sat in the hut and looked at each other, but they all felt lucky. Fortunately, they all fell not far away. After a moment's silence, Long Qingxie finally said, "We have to find the rest of the people as soon as possible. Now there is no meeting, and the rest of the people should try their best to find them. I have found a place where we can fight." Turning to Chang Guangji, he was very serious. "If you can help me find the rest, next, I will give you a place to break through quickly for you and your team to practice together, but there is also a premise, that is, you will be my power in the future. If I have a request, you will answer it." As soon as Chang Guangji heard that he could break through and improve, his eyes lit up quickly. Looking at 4 people, he was scared by their state and strength. If he worked with such a group of people, he might get a lot. He nodded his head and said, "Anyway, I have recognized you as the boss. What you say in the future is what you say. We will never disobey it." With that, he hugged Long Qingxie and others. Let a few people can't help but bend the corners of the mouth. So the next day, Long Qingxie and others left the stockade and went to the city and the village to find the rest. Long Qingxie and Meng Bai came to the city this time. "I think the most dangerous place is the safest place, and they should know that." Long Qingxie frowned and couldn't do anything about it. There were many people in the city, and there were people from the Beast Gate patrolling the streets, which made it more difficult. Meng Bai went to the side of the reward order and saw his picture pasted on the reward order, with a smile. "The painting is so ugly." He turned his head, but suddenly he was stunned. The man in the white veil is familiar. His body shape, his momentum. Once Nan Mi did not break through, he always wore a veil to cover his third eye. Later he took off the veil, but everyone has already remembered the way he wore the veil. So, this man is Nangang Yabujia. Meng Bai took a breath, quietly went to the man, raised his hand, patted the man's shoulder. "Hello." He did not dare to call Nangangji's name, because Nangangji's name was written on the reward order, which would certainly disturb the people around him. And the person around him, finally turned his head. Leng Leng, suddenly, nodded, turned and walked out of the crowd. Sure enough, Nanganji is right. Meng Bai smiles and turns his head to wave at the dragon's evil move standing under the eaves not far away. Then, the dragon's evil move follows. The three disappeared into the street together. Several people walked quietly, and no one spoke to anyone. They simply dodged all the way, and did not attract the attention of other 10,000 beast men. Long Qingxie makes a gesture to let Meng Bai and Nangong Yi go back to Chongguan Group's stronghold first. Then he sees that they both nod quietly and walk in the same direction. Three people quickly turn to a street. The streets are all under the hand of the beast door patrol, very tight. Three people turn to avoid, hide in an alley, continue to move forward. It may be that Nangong Yi is dressed in white, which really attracts people's attention. As several people walk out of an alley, a group of beasts passing by suddenly turn their heads and catch a glimpse of three people passing through the alley. Suddenly, several people whisper something and run towards several people. Three people's hearts suddenly nervous, looked at each other. See you at the Fushan Inn on the 2nd Street. Nangong Yi put down a word, three people almost at the same time toward three directions. The people in the team soon ran over and saw three people running in three directions. They immediately divided into three teams and chased them in the direction of three people. Long Qingxie grits his teeth, but in his heart he is in trouble. I'm afraid he will lose his trace just after he finds Nangong Yi. He turns around and looks at the direction he seems to be in, but he sees another small team running in his own direction. He rubbed his head very irritably, and Long Qingxie's face became colder and colder. Suddenly, he stopped in an alley, and immediately let the people of the beast gate behind him also break the car. Because they all feel that the man in front of them is really powerful and terrible. I say you. Long Qingxie was very upset. He raised his eyebrows, and his face was very impatient. When he turned his head, the épée was already in his hand, and his whole body sent out a strong breath, which made the team of 10,000 beasts in front of him step back in an instant, and no one dared to step forward. I'm really fed up with dodging. You guys have nothing to do. His voice was gloomy and terrible. He took a step forward. The heavy momentum made the men of the beast gate step back 2 steps. All the people took out their weapons and aimed at the dragon in front of him. For a moment, the atmosphere was freezing. The residents in the alleys all closed their doors and windows one after another for fear that the battle would involve them. For a moment, the whole alley was full of people in black. Long Qingxie turned his head to look behind him. He couldn't help laughing in a cold voice. He threw his épée and rushed forward. This battle is bound to attract more people in black. This is not what Long Qingxie wants to see. However, he can't stand his days of being submissive. He waved a heavy sword at the man in black in front of him. The strong sword wind made the man in black fall in front of him. These minions are not difficult to deal with. What is difficult to deal with is to delay the tactics all the time, leading to the real strong man coming in front of him. In this way, he can't escape. After all, Shengguansheng has begun to search them all over the upper world. The sword went straight into the heart of the man in black in front of him, and his face was full of blood. He could not help grinning. He reached out and touched the blood on his face, looked up at the roof, and thought that no one in black would ambush him on the roof, so he suddenly threw out a sword wind to stop the people outside and flew towards the roof. All of a sudden, the people in black in the underground all cried out. Some of them had already leaped up and were ready to chase the dragon, but the realm of the dragon was so different from them. When he leaped up, he was already 2 houses away from them. In an instant, the man in black was restless behind. A man in black took out a firework from his arms and let it out into the sky. Suddenly, a red smoke exploded in the sky. Long Qingxie frowned slightly and sped up. As he looked at the people behind him, he continued to fly forward. Just now Nangong Yi said that he would meet at Fushan Inn, so he turned around and ran towards the direction of Fushan Inn. Suddenly, I heard another fight below. When he looked down, he was stunned because he saw Situ Lan fighting with a group of people in black in a small open space. Obviously, it was just a fight. Long Qingxie turns to see that the beast gate behind him is still far away, then suddenly jumps down and cuts the man in black behind Situ Lan to death with a sword, standing behind Situ Lan. I'm afraid their experts of the beast gate are coming, we have to go quickly. When Situ Lan heard the sound of Dragon's evil spirit, he immediately put down his heart. After fighting, he asked, "How can you be here?" "I'm looking for you." Long Qingxie killed the man in front of him with a sword, turned his head and glanced at Situ Lan. "Then when I was running away, I suddenly saw that you were also attacked, so I came to help. It seems that the group of people in black who suddenly ran towards me didn't really find me, but because they were chasing you." Situ Lan picks eyebrows, the corner of the mouth is smiling, can't help laughing. "I am implicated by you." Dragon Qing evil go-go mouth, showing a smile. "Let's go. Everyone is waiting for you over there." As soon as I heard everyone, Situ Lan's eyes brightened and his smile widened. He suddenly raised his long sword and swept away. All the people in front of him were swept away. With a certain distance, Situ Lan and Long Qingxie suddenly flew to the roof together and galloped forward together. "Who else hasn't met?" Situ Lan asked, the wind whirring in his ear, and the man in black chasing behind him. He suddenly laughed. "And the little guy, and Mu Xiuming." The dragon's evil way was not clear in the wind, so he amplified his voice. The two men bypassed all the ambushes of the men in black and made a rapid leap towards the Fushan Inn. When I came to Fushan Inn, I saw Nanganji and Mengbai waiting for him at the gate of Fushan Inn. Long Qingxie and Situ Lan did not stop, and then flew forward. Nangang Yi and Mengbai see that the dragon is coming, and they also move forward. The figure of the four people was like a remnant in the air, and quickly disappeared in the sight of everyone. Only when they got back to Chongguan Group's stronghold did they slow down. At this time, it was almost dusk again. Chongguan Group was on the top of the mountain, shining with candle fire. None of the four said a word more. They jumped up the mountain and entered the village of Chongguan Regiment. Shaking off the dust, Long Qingxie looked serious. "It seems that this place, we can't continue to stay, it's no longer safe here." Chong Guangji stood in the room, looking at the countless people in front of him. He was afraid to speak. The people in front of him were all the high-price reward tasks in the statistical reward. These people gathered in their own strongholds at this time. If someone reported them now, they would get a lot of money. However, Chong Guangji bowed his head. No matter what, he could tell right from wrong if he chooses, he must choose these people. Now in the thatched cottage, under the dim yellow candle fire, there are 6 people gathered, including Nanganji, Shengguan, Situ Lan, Qi Yi's, Meng Bai and Long Qingxie. There are 2 people left, and they are all here. However, the heart of Long Qingxie and others became a little heavy, but now, the other 2 people still have no news. I don't know where they are and whether they have been arrested by the people of the Beast Gate. Long Qingxie pursed his mouth, frowned and said, "That day, when Meng Bai and I went to look for you, we saw a stronghold of the 10,000 Beast Gate on a mountain hundreds of miles away. That stronghold is very huge. We haven't explored it yet, but we can feel that it should be of great significance to the 10,000 Beast Gate." He turned to look around and said, "If our people can fight down that place after they arrive, it will be our most successful battle." Shengguan leaned on his head and was very depressed. He vomited, but now there are still 2 people missing. No one is missing among us. Let's find them as soon as possible and make a decision together. Long Qingxie lowered his head, listening to the discussion about what to do next, but he was worried. "My little guy, where are you now?" Outside the thatched cottage, the night is very clear, the moon is bright and the stars are sparse. In the valley. It's not boring for Yunwu to spend time with Yunjiajin. Although these soldiers and killers are all trained according to the method she set before, after all, after so long, Yunwu thinks it's necessary to improve them, and the many treasures she carries are also useful at this time. On the martial arts training ground, Yunwu ordered people to set up a row of long tables and move all the tables in the whole valley. Then, Gao Yu and Ling Qingshui ordered all the people in the valley to gather in the martial arts training ground and gather at 3 o'clock. During the 2 days in the valley, Yunwu stayed with the soldiers and killers, and made some suggestions from time to time. Although it was too late to mention more people, the effect was very obvious when she didn't mention one. Therefore, we have long been curious about this leader that many people rarely see before, so we don't need to rush at all. Before noon, we have all arrived at the martial arts arena. What is the chief going to do? Why are there so many tables on it? The leading generals have not arrived yet. The soldiers and killers all stand together and discuss with each other in a low voice. I don't know. Do you want to make something delicious for us? One of the soldiers laughed and said, I think the tables are arranged in a row, which is very similar to those who give alms in the street. The generals and soldiers don't stick to trifles. Now one person speaks it out, and other people who hear it laugh. In the past, everyone was busy in training, and soldiers and killers seldom stood together to talk. In this way, they thought it was very strange, but they didn't think the time was too slow. Finally, when the third quarter of the afternoon was about to arrive, someone suddenly called out, the leader is coming. All of a sudden, just now still standing together, chatting people quickly separated to find their own position, each stand well, a serious face waiting for the arrival of Cloud Dance. Not far away, a group of generals gathered around Yunwu, who was walking in the front, and walked towards the martial arts arena. It seemed that they were not in a hurry, but after such a long distance, they all opened their eyes in surprise, and their worship for Yunwu increased a few points. Several people have been walking to the middle of the table, with Cloud Dance as the center, standing on both sides separately. There are thousands of people standing in the huge arena, but they are still silent. Finally, Yunwu tilted his voice, and the cold voice was carried out by internal force, so that every soldier on the scene could hear clearly. You soldiers and killers, you trained day and night when I left. Now that I'm back, you've brought me such a big surprise. Whether it's the Killers Regiment or the Cloud Family Army, it's enough to be the overlord of one side. But you should always remember that our goal is not to dominate the party, but to destroy the Beast Gate that is trying to dominate the party. You all know that the Beast Gate is powerful, but you should know that we are not weak. Now we've got support from all sides. The destruction of the Beast Gate is just around the corner. And now, I'm back, in order to thank you for the surprise you brought me, and to increase the chips to destroy the Beast Gate, so I also brought you a surprise. As soon as the voice of Cloud Dance fell, everyone present was surprised. Surprise them? What's the surprise? Does it mean that the leader has got something good from the outside to share with them? But there are nearly 2,000 of them. Do they need a share? Although people were very curious, they didn't say anything on the surface. The martial arts training ground was still quiet. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.